detailed game odds and information, visit txlottery.org or call 1-800-37-LOTTO. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket or to enter a promotional second chance drawing. Play responsibly.
With unlimited data from AT&T, you can stream your favorite DirecTV content almost anywhere. Side effects may include sports-induced public celebration, increased desire to share spoilers, and repeated late-night use of the phrase,
just one more episode.
The unlimited effect. Get unlimited data when you switch to AT&T Wireless and have DirecTV.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T may slow speeds. Must have eligible TV service. If you're not eligible, AT&T will move you to a new plan and overage charges may apply. Plan will include Stream Saver. Other restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show. Now, here's Kevin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Holly.
Welcome into the postgame show. 27-13. The Cowboys lose to the Eagles this afternoon. They finished the season 13-3 on the year and now wait for the playoff picture to sort itself out before seeing what things are going to look like going into a bye-week wild card weekend. It is Gavin Dawson, Jesse Holly, and Mike Bassick, and there's still so much to talk about this afternoon, Cowboys Nation. Let's start with the big story, and that is Tony Romo coming back and playing one awesome series of football. He was 3 for 4. They go right down the field, 82 yards in about 2 minutes, 47 seconds, and get a touchdown to Terrence Williams. So I imagine that is going to be a major talking point over the next 2 weeks and throughout the next 3 hours as we conduct the post-game show here with you. The number's 877-881-1053. Guys, I thought they managed it great. You know, to get Tony in there and all that.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen him do one more series, but I totally get it. And that was awesome. Like you just said, the Tony Romo drive, because this is the only team entering the NFL playoffs that can lose their starting quarterback and win the Super Bowl. The only team. And I know that New England went 3-1 without Tom Brady, but I think if they had to play a playoff game with, and I'm drawing a blank on the kid from Tony Romo's school.
Oh, Garoppolo.
Jimmy G. Yeah, I think that they couldn't win the Super Bowl with him. I believe the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl if you end up occurring an injury early in the playoffs to your quarterback.
That was pretty awesome to watch Tony be that sharp.
You know what I love? Here's what I love about sports. As small as a sample size as we saw. I mean, he was 3 or 4 for 29 yards and a touchdown. But it was great. We love to see that sample size. There was another sample size that we saw in that same football game in the same uniform of Mark Sanchez.
Worthless.
And he looked horrid. I mean, it looked awful. And you can take this and you can say, you know what? You know, I think if Tony Romo would have had a bad series, they would have brought him out there for another one. But because that series was so good, they just said, you know what? Listen, we saw what we needed to see. Yeah. The teams that we probably going to trade to see all they needed to see. Let's get you out of here. The last thing I want people to see is you walk off the field with your hand raised after a touchdown pass. But sports is the only place where you can have such a small sample size and it be amazing. I was at the stadium club at AT&T Stadium, and when Tony entered the game, the bar, the restaurant erupted. Everyone was cheering. Everyone was happy. When he threw that touchdown, you thought it was the game-winning touchdown of the Super Bowl. The crowd went crazy for Tony to throw a touchdown to Terrence Williams. So that's what I love about sports, but it was good to see Tony Romo out there playing a little football.
I think that's the amazing thing, Jesse, that you brought up, is this is still a 4-12 team. The Cowboys are still 4-12 if Mark Sanchez would have been the quarterback. If you didn't draft Dak Prescott or didn't believe in him and you ended up going with Mark Sanchez, and let's just say Tony couldn't have played this season. I know he could have come back in week 8 or 9. But if Mark Sanchez leads this team, maybe they're better than 4-12. Maybe they're 5-11. But it just goes to show you how important the quarterback position is. One, Tony Romo looks like he still has it in a short sample size.
Yes.
2, Dak Prescott is the real deal when you look at what would happen if you put in a veteran quarterback who sucks at football, and that's Mark Sanchez, is that you're still about a 5-11 team without a good quarterback.
Yeah, it's amazing how you have so many good talking points off of one game, but you're right, man. Mark Sanchez is terrible. If the Cowboys had not drafted Dak Prescott, all respect to Zeke, but they would still be very close to, at best, a 500 football team. The number's 877-881-1053. If that's the last game Tony Romo plays, how perfect is that, right? You know, he gets to end it going right down the field for a touchdown. He goes off the field congratulated by everybody. The new guy, Dak Prescott, gives him a high five. But at the same time, if you do need him now for the playoffs, I'd feel a lot better than I did before this game because you didn't know how rust was going to be a factor for Tony. Yeah. And we still can't be sure. Maybe it's the adrenaline of one game. We don't know if that's Tony. But then, the other thing is what today's game does for his trade value. And the other teams don't know what Tony is, but one team is going to pay up for that. Based on what happened in a very small sample size today, you're going to be able to go out to the trade market and say, no, he proved he can still play. Is he durable? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But if you don't want it, the Texans are there, the Broncos are there, the 49ers, the Jets. There's enough teams that I feel like today was a huge boost to his status as an asset.
It's funny because he had 4 passing attempts, and you kind of seen all you needed to see in 4 passing attempts. He still could throw the ball a little bit. I mean, he's never been a guy who could sling the ball 60, 70 yards down the field, but he still has some arm enough to throw the ball down the field. He had some zip on the ball, the one he threw in to Terrence Williams on the in route. He had the ability to move in the pocket. He wasn't afraid to move in the pocket, and he had touch. The touchdown pass, Terrence Williams, he was sliding to his left and threw a touch pass to the only place that the ball should have gone, where it was going to be caught or it was going out of bounds. And so you saw a plethora of things in just the smallest. I mean, can the sample size get any smaller than that? But you saw enough throws in the 4 attempts that he's taken to say he can still throw a little bit deep. He still has zip on the ball. He can still move in the pocket, and he still has touch.
The other thing, too, is if you're a team and you're like, well, we don't have the Cowboys offensive line. Once again, short sample size. We don't have Ezekiel Elliott. For that drive, he didn't have the offensive line, and he didn't have Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
So he did it with what you'd consider an average NFL offensive line with the 2 guys missing, and he did it with an average running back in the NFL and Darren McFadden, maybe a little above average.
Right. 27-13, the final. Cowboys lose. We'll get the Jason Garrett press conference brought to you by Pepsi, all for the Cowboys, and then we'll start to take some of your phone calls. We're probably going to hear from Dak here. I don't know. Would they go Tony? They're not going to. They wouldn't.
I don't think for
Tony?
the major press conference, but hopefully, maybe Mike Fisher gets to interview him. I don't know.
Would you guys think about Ezekiel Elliott not starting, not playing, and the way that they managed that portion of it?
I'm okay with that. I really am. I think this team had enough running backs with Lance Dunbar, Alfred Morris, and Darren McFadden. I'm okay with Zeke Elliott not playing today. He had nothing to play for today. There was nothing for him to prove today. This is a guy who had almost 340-something carries this season. He's going to carry a huge load into the playoffs. So give him a little bit of rest this week. He'll have the next week off, and then now you ride him like a cheap, what, throughout the playoffs.
Let's go to Jason Garrett in Philly.
How tough was it approaching a game like this, trying to balance act and trying to be competitive, trying to get people working, trying not to have 20 guys play 2 games? How tough of a balancing act was this for you?
Well, we just had different objectives coming into the game. There were going to be certain guys who weren't going to play in this game because of injury. We held a couple guys out, a guy on each side of the ball, and then we had a plan for a few other guys about how much we wanted them to play. But having said that, you decide who's going to be out there, and then you have a standard for performance that you're looking for from everybody. Great opportunity for a lot of young guys to get extended amount of time against a good football team. They'll grow and get better because of that. We'll be better as a football team because of that.
What the reason for the timeouts at the end of the game? Your timeouts at the end of the game, you trying to get the ball back, or you?
Yeah, we just play 60 minutes.
Can you talk about your plan on how you use your quarterbacks tonight and why you determined to go that way with having this team?
It's just what we wanted to do. We wanted Dak to play in the game, get a series or 2. We wanted Tony to play in the game, get a series or 2, and then we wanted Sanchez to finish the ball game.
Seeing Tony take over the way he plays, like he never missed a step out there. How heartwarming was it, or how nice was it to see a guy just kind of pick up where he left off?
I thought he did a really nice job in the game. Tribute to his preparation and him getting himself ready each week to play. He's obviously played a lot of football. He's comfortable in this offense. He looked comfortable out there today, made some good decisions. The 3rd and 12 was a big play, and then he got it going and did a good job down in the red zone, cashing in on it.
What did you say to him when he came to the sideline?
Nice job.
The idea was to see how he looked, play out more than just 6 plays.
We just felt like that was the right amount of time for him. He looked comfortable out there, handling the mechanics of the game. He hasn't played in a little while, and it sounds simple, but getting a call from the sidelines, handling the mechanics of the line of scrimmage, just wanted to see him do that, and did a good job of that, and obviously executed the plays very well.
Why did you decide not to go with Sham or Ezekiel Elliott at all?
Sean's done a hell of a job all year long dealing with some different injuries. And obviously, as productive a player as we have on our team, fought through some things the last couple of weeks. Just felt like it was the right thing for us to do with him to keep him out. Obviously, Zeke has gotten a tremendous workload over the course of the year, been a really important player for us. I thought this was a good opportunity to keep him out, freshen him up, and also give some of the other guys an opportunity to play.
How much did you inform them that they wouldn't play? When did you inform them that they wouldn't play?
We decided on it yesterday. Yeah, those guys want to play. Everybody wanted to play, even the guys we took out at different parts of the game. They wanted to stay in. That's the nature of them. They're competitors, but they understood what the objectives were.
Do you feel like you got through the game without sustaining any other injuries?
It seemed like, from what I've gotten, the information seems like we're doing okay in the injury front.
Coach, when you look at this year, I think our playoffs now, but having gotten to the regular season, having gotten to this global, how kind of you had, how satisfying this was, or how everybody came along? Yeah, not really a time for reflection. A time to get our eyes forward and get back to work. We'll clean up this game quickly and we'll get our eyes forward. As a team, we'll practice at the end of the week with our team and we'll get locked in on that.
What was your team up at the game?
Focus on what's happening forward. The only thing that matters is what we do now. Put ourselves in a great position. Time to get back to work.
Prescott took a pretty good hit at the end of that second possession. Was he going to come out after that possession, regardless?
Yes. Yes.
Do you anticipate all your guys that did make a trip to be ready for you for the division round?
We do.
Were there guys that caught your eye? You saw Gregory get a sack. Is that something that you can take from this game going forward?
Absolutely. It was great to see a number of different guys on both sides of the ball get a lot of work. A lot of young players played a lot of snaps in this ball game, and they're going to be better for it. There were a lot of good things that they're going to be able to build on, and certainly some things they'll correct. There's no better learning experience for a player than playing in a game. So I think in a lot of ways we got better today.
Do you understand that Gregory will be available for the playoffs?
It's status quo from my standpoint.
Given how you managed this game, did you like the way they responded overall, the guys who were out there on the field?
I thought guys did a good job in this game, continuing to fight. And again, we had some different combinations playing, and hard to get into a great rhythm on offense. But guys kept battling. I thought Mark Sanchez settled in a little bit. Had the two turnovers early on, but made a big throw to Bees, made a couple other good throws in the ball game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to maintain the rhythm offensively, and over the course of it, they were able to move the ball a little bit more on us defensively. But I thought our guys fought. I thought our guys battled. Good experience for a lot of different guys.
Well, what Tony showed in the game, was that what he's shown in practice for the last 6 weeks since he's been up there?
He's done a nice job in practice. He's working very hard to get back, and he takes the reps with the scout team very seriously. We've given him some other reps with our first offense. He's handled those well. He's a professional. He loves to play. It's good to see him out there today.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys. Good to see you.
All right, there he is, Jason Garrett. Different objectives going into this game, and they managed it, I think, about as good as you could. With Tony, they just felt like it was a good time to get him out after the one successful series, and he's totally right. Tony was still healthy. He'd proved everything that he could. It couldn't get any better.
No.
And you'd elevated the trade value.
I'm really happy. Would I like to see Tony play another series? As a fan of football, yes, because when Mark Sanchez, who needs to be out of the NFL ASAP, that was pathetic to watch as a Cowboys fan. But it was really like watching 2015 all over again. Mark Sanchez is the same as Matt Castle.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see him play another series for the fan in me to get to see Tony, see if he could do it again. But I totally get it from being Cowboys management, being the head coach of the team, offensive coordinator. I totally get sitting out Ezekiel Elliott and only playing Romo that one series.
877-881-1053 is the phone number. What do you think about how the Cowboys manage things? And ending the season on a loss isn't fun, but I feel like because things went well for the first teamers, those that were in there, for the first half of the game pretty much, that it doesn't take away any of your momentum, right? I think you look at it, you watch the film and say, hey, when we had our guys in there, they're going to be in the playoffs. Those guys were performing well. 27-13 the final, and losing to the Eagles is never fun. So you got to acknowledge that as well. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Holley will come back and take your phone calls, and then we'll start to hear from some of the players in the locker room and whatnot. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Here in Dallas, fans know what it means to be great, so they pack the stands to show their team some love. Some decorate with their team colors.
Honey, I painted the house. Nice, huh?
Honey. And others would travel any distance for their team. So American flies to the most international destinations, including 5 cities in Asia, just in case they ever expand the league to, say, Hong Kong. Translation, go Cowboys. The world's greatest flyers fly American, official airline of the Dallas Cowboys.
For nearly 40 years, SWBC Solutions has been teaming up with people, companies, and financial institutions in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com.
When an injury keeps you from being active, you want one place that has the expertise to care for all your orthopedic needs. As the largest not-for-profit healthcare system in Texas, Baylor Scott & White Health is ready to care for you as a whole person. From athletic injuries to arthritis, you'll get personalized care from orthopedic specialists. So no matter where life finds you, today or in years to come, trust that we'll be there to care for you. To find a physician, visit BaylorScottandWhite.com.
There's never been a question I'm proud as a business owner to say to my employees when they ask what kind of insurance company we have. And I say, yes, we have the best coverage.
You may not know Pat, but chances are you know a Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas member like her.
I'm a registered nurse and the owner of a home care agency, and we provide Blue Cross and Blue Shield coverage to our employees. I know when I started this company 18 years ago, I said I want the best coverage. I want to have Blue Cross for our employees. There's passion, so not only do I provide Blue Cross for my employees, but I also work with the case managers from Blue Cross to get coverage for the patients that we provide care for. Personally and professionally, I would not think of using anyone else because that leadership is there within the healthcare community, and they're with you through it all.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
The Dallas Cowboys Pepsi postgame show continues. Brought to you by
AT&T, mobilizing your world. Pepsi, all for the Cowboys. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. John Deere, integrity, quality, commitment, and innovation. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. The University of North Texas. Discover why UNT is the university for you at unt.edu. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Boo Romo as he comes onto the field during the break. They didn't even take him getting under center to get booed in Philadelphia.
Well, we're sitting here, and we go to break, and all of a sudden a bunch of booing started out. I'm looking at the big board thinking maybe they showed, I don't know, Jimmy John, whatever it was, and Christy Scales informed us.
Listen.
Tony Romo's coming into the game.
Listen.
Oh, that's too funny.
All right, there he was. He came in the game and led the team on a touchdown drive, but the Cowboys lose 27-13. I feel great, this afternoon because of the energy of Tony coming in and playing well and the energy on the sidelines. To me, my body feels like the Cowboys won.
I thought the defense had a really good game. I know at the end it's 27 points, but you were playing with a horrible quarterback, and so at the end they score a touchdown at the end that was somewhat meaningless. So I felt really good without Sean Lee on the field. The best defensive player by far on this team. They got some pressure on the quarterback, and the Eagles were trying hard. The Eagles were trying hard, and they were struggling to score with good field position almost every time because of Mark Sanchez.
You take Zeke and Sean Lee off the field. I think that when it came down to it, the Cowboys didn't care if they won or lost this game. They did a great job of all week saying, oh, no, we really want this, and we're going to, we play football, and that's what football players do. And it sounds great. When you're at press conferences or when you're on talk radio, really, beating the drum about how football players go out there and they play. But you know what else happens? General managers general manage, and they look at situations and assess risk and say, okay, I decide who's going to play and who's not, along with the coaching staff. And, you show up and Zeke's not even going in the game. I thought that was a bit extreme, right, to not even start Zeke, but
I thought
goes to
early
show
in
you
the-
how important he is.
Early in the game, Brad Sham pretty much called this when he saw who was out there and what was probably going to happen, said this is somewhat of a fifth preseason game. It's just at the end of the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys. And so if you're upset, Dallas Cowboy fans, that they lost this game, then you're stupid. You are a stupid human being, and you need to wake up and figure out how professional sports work.
According to my Twitter page, there are a number
of stupid people,
of frustrated and upset Cowboys fans. They're thinking the momentum is lost. They're saying that Jason Garrett's an a-hole, that
what?
this game should have been won for not playing this game. Listen, if
they got to be drinking.
If Jason Garrett had,
there's no sober person mad this afternoon.
If Jason Garrett had the ability, or he had the accessibility of other players, like in the preseason, because when you have, 70, 90 guys, if he had that, I guarantee you would have seen nobody. You wouldn't have seen Zeke, Dak, Romo, Dez. You wouldn't have seen any of those guys. The only reason why you had to see some of those guys was because you just don't have access to players at this point in time in the season. You can only play 48. That's all you have. And so a lot of guys didn't even travel. Tyron didn't even travel. So you got some guys, if you had access to the players, Jason wouldn't have played any of those guys.
All right, well, we'll take your phone calls if you want to call in at 877-881-1053. Are there any people in your area who are angry about the way something happened in today's Cowboys game? I mean, if you're a big Tony fan, I get that emotionally, like Mike said, you'd want to see him. Like, I'm a Tony fan. I want to see it too. But when he comes out, you can say, all right, well, I understand as much as I'd like to see it. The team has to manage its assets. I get that. So, yeah, there's a couple of lines open, and we'll get to the Dak Prescott press conference here in a few minutes, but let's see what you guys are having to say out there. Here is Ruben in Dallas. Cowboys fall 27-13 in Philadelphia. What are you thinking?
Well, number one thing, man, they got to get rid of Hutchinson.
Oh, my bad. We got to go to Dak. Here he is in Philly.
That's how I play. I've been practicing pretty well, so just kind of carried over from practice.
How satisfying is the right word, but being out as long as you were, how gratifying was it? How meaningful was it for you?
Yeah, it's just another step in the season. I think you just go out and play, and if you're good enough, you're going to go play well. And I've been practicing well, so just kind of, like I said, stay true to form.
Was it important to get live reps?
It's always important to play football. I think for me, I practice the same tempo and speed. Really every time I throw a football, it's kind of in my brain, that atmosphere, so it's kind of felt the same.
What do you think of this team, Tony?
I'm not going to go into existential questions or any of the other stuff, just about the game and my performance, if you don't mind, so go ahead.
First pass is a deep ball. Were you trying to come out in the center, or is that the read that tells you to go when you throw it to center?
A little of both. I think, if you're going to play, you might as well be aggressive as far as with the reads. That was one of the places to go with the football, and I was prepared to do that before the game.
How do you feel?
Good.
You're saying like the same as good as you did before you got hurt last year?
No, I feel better now than I did last year. There's no question about that.
Did you or the team really learn anything about you and your viability for the playoffs?
Once again, we're not going to go into.
Well, I guess it's sort of performance. Did you learn anything today?
Did I learn anything today? It's a good question. I don't know how to answer that. I think more than anything, you just play football. You go out there, and if you're good enough to play, you're good enough to play.
Dak Prescott met you at the bench when he came after throwing the touchdown pass. What do you think of the young rookie and how he's played and his overall character?
Like I said, I don't want to get into it. I know there's a million other questions that we could talk about, and part of all that is just, for the football team, it just doesn't help to talk about everything that we could discuss. So for me, I genuinely feel like, I understand the questions, and they're good ones to have answered, and we'll get to all that later. I just think, Dak's done a great job, and, he's been a good teammate, and so we always wish him the best.
Did it feel great playing? out of that series?
Yeah, it did. It felt great to get out there and play football.
On the touchdown pass to Garrett, details some of that communication on that? Is not there?
Yeah, just a little communication on it. I think, I've been with Terrence a long time. Terrence is probably one of the most underrated, if not underrated, receivers in the NFL. His growth and from when he got here to where he's at now, I mean, it's you really can't say how much he's improved, and without going into great detail. I mean, he's one of the better receivers in the National Football League. He's really a great player.
Was it semi-improv? It looked a little like basketball back.
No, we planned it. We had it ready to go.
It wasn't much of a celebration time. You just kind of did a little something like that. I mean, did it feel like, hey, one of 248 touchdown passes you've thrown?
I mean, all touchdowns feel good. So I think, that part of it, felt good, throwing a touchdown. Weirdly, you kind of expect it when you walk out there. Just, all right, let's go out here and throw a touchdown. I know it sounds silly, but you expected to go out there and do something well. So I think in that regard, it felt normal.
Was it somewhat satisfying because it's been so long and everything's good with the team to have that good drive?
Well, I think, it's good and fun to play football. It's enjoyable to go, have a little success playing football. But, I kind of do that at practice each day. I mean, you get those same feelings, the competitive vibes. I know it's more people watching, but, I treat them all the same way. And I know what happens out here is going to be a lot more talked about sometimes than what happens at practice. But just feels good to kind of do what you've been doing and take it from there. There was no exact plan. It was just to get some reps and play football, and we just kind of see.
You sound like you're more impressed with what you do during the week practice than 6 plays during the football game on Sunday.
No, I think they're all the same. I mean, it's ultimately, you're going to be defined by what you do on Sunday. But in my experience, if you're not doing it throughout the week, Sundays are going to be difficult. So, I just feel like I've been practicing well, and you just wanted to go out and, prove it to yourself, prove it to your coaches, teammates, that you can go be the same guy.
Knowing you were going to get some snaps today, was it any different coming to this game?
No, I've played the game a long time. I know how to play the game. I think coming here today was similar to all the other times, and you want to treat it that way. It helps you play good anyway.
Not that reports are the be-all and end-all, but it seemed like early in the week there were indications you weren't going to play, and then late in the week there were. Did you talk to these guys about getting some athletes? Talk about it?
There's always stuff talked about. I think you just, get yourself ready to play, and then when they call on you, you just go out and play. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is, Tony Romo addressing reporters after going out 3 of 4 with a touchdown throw to Terrence Williams. He was decisive. He showed the anticipation, the quick release that we love from Tony Romo, and the short sample size has done a lot to create conversation. If you have thoughts on Tony, 877-881-1053.
Going into it, Gavin, I said to myself, no matter what he does, don't overreact. Don't overreact to, if he got hurt, then he got hurt. But I was just like, if he goes 0 for 4 throwing the ball, don't overreact that he's totally finished, and going 3 for 4 with a touchdown drive, don't overreact that he's, better than Dak Prescott or better. But it's tough because when you saw that, now I'm not going to say replace him. I know there's probably some Cowboy fans that want to call in and say go with Romo in the playoffs. I can't imagine you thinking that, but you're allowed to think whatever you want to think. But I am really excited for the Cowboys that in the playoffs, if something happens to your quarterback, you're the only team in the NFL that can still win the Super Bowl.
We're going to hear from Dak Prescott as well. We just heard from Philadelphia, so we'll get his thoughts on the Cowboys' 27-13 loss to the Eagles. Tony said he's not going to answer any big picture type of questions. What's the word he used? Any existential type questions, I think?
Existential.
And reporters tried a couple of different times, but he was really determined to just keep it to questions about the game and his performance. I heard a guy, I believe, that's still a little bit detached. It still is goodbye for him. And while maybe we're thinking, wow, that was exciting and he played great, he's still very matter of fact, not going to get into it. Maybe we'll talk, about how the game played, but not about my place in the world, my place on the team. None of that's happening. So I don't know.
Can I pose a scenario?
Go ahead.
Let's just say in the playoffs, Dak doesn't get hurt. right? Because that's it's likely, but it's far-fetched. Right. If you had to place a bet, you wouldn't place a bet on him getting hurt in the playoffs.
He went 16 games without a ding.
Right.
He could be down 17 a lot easier, though.
Now, what happens if you're in a playoff game and the moment just looks too big for Dak and he's rattled? I mean, he has 3 interceptions in the first half, and you're down 14 points at halftime. Do you then now go to Tony Romo to try to bring something in the second half, or do you say, we've gone 16 with Dak, we're going to go the rest of the way with Dak, or do you say, we need a spark at halftime, let's bring in Tony Romo?
I would go with Dak still.
Okay.
And I would say this is also, if that would really stink, because I think this team has a good chance to win the Super Bowl. But if he really struggles in the first half, I would stick with him and say this is a building piece for the next dozen years for him to learn from. Because if you take that away from him, then if you have a good team next year, and I'm assuming next year Tony Romo isn't on the team, now you're going to go into the playoffs again going, we didn't even let him play a second half of a playoff game.
Yeah, I'm right in between. I'd start him in the second half, but if it was another interception and now we're down 21, then at that point, I think most teams would put any backup quarterback in, and that's part of learning. Getting benched is part of learning, for most rookie players in the NFL.
And I think we get a little bit naive in the fact that we're already talking about 2017 playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we assume that this thing is going to keep happening year after year after year. I mean, Carolina went 15-1 last year and was in the Super Bowl. They looked terrible this season. So, like, getting a chance to win the Super Bowl, you don't understand how real that is and how often you do not get a chance to do that.
We're going to hear from Dak. We're going to recap what Tony had to say and then take your thoughts on it. Brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, home to over 7,000 of your favorite electronic games, more than 1,000 table game seats, 1,500 luxury hotel rooms, 27 championship golf holes, and the 3,500-seat Global Event Center. WinStar World Casino and Resort. You're going to need to stay a little bit longer. Cowboys fall in Philly 27-13. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Texaco wants to reward you for being a fan. Visit the Affinity Rewards program at affinity.com to start earning points towards prizes and experiences with your favorite sports team. The more you earn, the more you'll score. Use your points for game tickets, officially licensed gear, autographed merchandise, and unique experiences. Register at affinity.com and start earning points today. That's AFANITY.com to register. See program rules for details.
Thomas Alexander and Forster. Think differently. Reject boundaries. Win. Thomas Alexander and Forster. Fear the Taff. Visit fearthetaff.com.
The Cowboys don't take the field without a game plan, and neither should you. When it comes to energy needs, do what the Cowboys do and trust ProStar Energy Services to perform for your business. They offer unbiased independent consultation with centuries of industry experience in markets, both nationally and internationally. Let us draft a strategy to help your business beat the competition with bottom-line savings on your energy bill and custom procurement and utility bill auditing solutions that keep your team focused on winning. To score big for your business, call ProStar today, 817-892-4250.
Hey fans, as the Cowboys look to bring home another victory.
Thrown in the end zone, wide open, touchdown.
Crown Royal would like to remind you to bring yourselves home safely. So after enjoying a delicious Crown Royal Regal Apple cocktail, call a cab or catch a ride with a designated driver. Because part of being smooth to the core is being safe. Crown Royal Regal Apple flavored whiskey, smooth to the core.
35% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2015, The Crown Royal Company, Norwalk, Connecticut. Please drink responsibly.
Wearing glasses with Crizal lenses can make a big difference in your vision. Neither the sandstorms of the Mojave Desert, nor the dust and dirt of a Texas rodeo, nor the glare of the bright lights of Broadway can keep you from having the clearest vision possible. For no-glare lenses with great water, dirt, dust, scratch, and smudge resistance, choose Crizal. Live life in the clear. That's C-R-I-Z-A-L. Crizal. Ask for them at your eye care professional.
Looking for the ultimate steak experience? At Pappas Brothers Steakhouse, we pride ourselves on our straightforward approach to serving our guests the best steaks. We buy the highest quality ingredients, use a timeless recipe, and cook it flawlessly each and every time. There's no detail left untouched when you dine at Pappas Brothers Steakhouse. We have a vast wine list and sommeliers to help guide you through 3,500 selections. Join us at Pappas Brothers Steakhouse for the ultimate steak experience. A proud supporter of the Dallas Cowboys.
Sean and RJ, mornings on 105.3 The Fan.
Blitz from Hitchens, and he's got it. Oh, man. Hitchens shot out of a gun coming from the left side of the defense, flying across the line of scrimmage to catch Wentz and sack him back at the 16.
That was fun. Cowboys lose 27-13 at Philly. This segment's brought to you by Albertsons, the official supermarket of the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to hear from Dak Prescott here momentarily. He played a couple of series, led the Cowboys to a field goal. Tony Romo came in. It was one drive, 4 attempts, 3 completed, a touchdown to Terrence Williams. And we're talking about him in the press conference we just heard. I have seen some people tweeting and texting saying that, should have never strayed from Tony Romo, should have put him back in around midseason at some point. There's others saying, well, that's a ridiculous idea and you got to stay with Dak because he's durable and he's younger and all that and he's obviously the future. So I think there's a lot of different ways to see this. There are a lot of Tony Romo fans out there, and certainly you've spent so much time defending him against some pretty asinine takes over the years as far as him being overrated or this, that, or the other thing. That's not what we're looking at right here, though. This is a pretty legitimate set of circumstances that has kind of squeezed your guy out. I'd really just like to ask people at this point right here to just step back and enjoy the fact that we're after week 17 in a 13-3 year. And, I think because we've been so involved in sports debates that we think that's normal to be that agitated and irritated and emotional when discussing. Debate and discussion is great. I see way too much anger coming across from one Cowboy fan to another Cowboy fan about who should start at quarterback. Both are great choices. And if somebody has been so loyal to number 9 that he just can't find it in himself to consider that the other guy should be a starter, you can understand that. Tony's been great for this organization. And if you're a Dak guy, you can clearly see that. And if you're a Tony guy, you could look to the other side and say, you know what, it's been 10 years. He's old. The last 5 games he's started, he's been hurt in 3 of them, significant injuries. It's not asinine or ridiculous to say, no, I think we should just stick with Dak. I have a really difficult time looking onto Facebook or to Twitter and seeing Cowboy fans warring with each other and using such abusive language at a time that should be so celebratory.
And even if you love Tony Romo, look at it this way. You just saw 2015 in this game. Mark Sanchez is Matt Castle. Mark Sanchez is Brandon Whedon. They're all the same person with different names. This team is a 5-11 team without Dak Prescott. It's a 5-11 team without Tony Romo. It's a good team with either as long as both of them are healthy. But I think it goes to show how good Dak Prescott was. If you're voting for MVP and you're like, any human being who's throwing a football in college that's been drafted could take this team to an above 500 record. Well, Mark Sanchez might lose all 16. You might be competing for the number 1 pick in the draft if Mark Sanchez quarterbacks this team for all 16 games. That just showed to me Dak Prescott is really good at quarterbacking. And if you were wondering, does Tony Romo have anything left? A short, mini sample size. But yes, it looks like he has something left in the tank. So from a positive Cowboys standpoint, Dak is awesome. You just got to see what this team looks like without Dak Prescott and with Mark Sanchez. Pathetic. And then you got to see Tony Romo again look really good in his 1 series.
Tony did say he feels better now than he did last year, which is cool. I think he said that during training camp though. So I don't know how the body's going to hold up to a hit. And then, he just tried to talk about this game, that it was just another step and you go out there and play and he's been practicing well and it's important to get live reps, but he competes. For him in his press conferences, I was listening, I really felt like I was listening to a guy who feels like he's going to be a free agent and wanted to prove himself. Let's hear from Dak Prescott. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Yeah, I was informed of that. Just wanted to go out there. Try to get in the groove, try to do some good things early. With having being taken out of the game and having next week off, I wanted to get some plays in, some passes. and just try to keep some momentum going for myself.
It seemed like you took a pretty big hit from Malcolm James when the two defenders got on you. When you're in that situation, do you try to do whatever you can to try to avoid that because of what's on the line, potentially your health?
I mean, I was just trying to get rid of the ball. I mean, I never want to take a hit. He came clean. We had a hot. The hot wasn't coming open fast enough, so I just knew I had one guy in the middle of the field and nobody else was there and tried to give him a shot. But he gave me a good hit, but didn't do much.
You were pretty animated when Romo threw the touchdown pass. What was that like for you? What was that moment like after that?
It was fun just to go out there and watch him. I mean, it was easy for him, as it's been for a lot of the time in his career. But being able to go out there in a full game, watching a guy that I've grown up be the quarterback of this team, just make it look so easy was a good moment.
I know you understand the situation, but like you and Zeke have been so important to what this team has done this year. Was it just strange not to be more involved today, even though you know what the stakes were? Was that difficult to handle at all?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, I want to be out there playing. I want the ball in my hands every possession. That's the competitor and the type of guy I am. But it was good just to go out there and see some guys get some reps. And as I said, watch Tony go out there and just make it look so easy. It was fun. But I always want to be on that field.
Given your stated goal of maintaining momentum, do you feel frustrated, satisfied, or somewhere in between?
Looking forward. Just completely eyes on the playoffs. Our next opponent, whenever we figure that out, and just what we can do throughout this week and throughout next week to get better, to make sure we're in a good position and ready for the playoff game.
How would you describe the collective mindset of the locker room as you guys get ready for the turn?
Exactly what I just said. Looking forward. Eyes are all on the playoff game. We'll wait to see who our opponent is, but in the meantime, we'll get better this week, make ourselves better in every way that we can, and then when we figure out who it is, continue to get better and get ready for that opponent.
The season's not over for you guys, but do you reflect at all on what this team was able to do during the regular season?
Not at all. I mean, it's a whole new season now. Everything you do from this point on is really how you get looked at the end of the year. So I mean, that's the importance of us, is looking forward and playing a long time in this postseason.
You're very aware, like you said, the season's going to be you're going to be viewed by what happens from here on out this season, not what you've done to this point.
Right.
You said Romo made it look easy. Is that how you looked in practice the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, that's a vet. I mean, y'all have seen what he's done in this league for a long time, and it's no different in practice. It was no different in his time in there tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There he is, Dak Prescott. Just 2 series for the Cowboys as he stepped aside and watched Tony play and then watched Mark Sanchez play. Dak was 4 of 8, no touchdowns, no picks for 37 yards in his limited action. Okay, so you've heard us talking about the topics of the game, a 27-13 loss at Philly. What are you thinking? 877-881-1053 is the phone number. Let's go with line 2 here. Robert, you're on the Cowboys postgame show. What you doing this afternoon? Thanks for calling.
Just sitting here listening to your input. Right now, I think ultimately this streak we went on might turn out to be a curse. I've always
appreciate that thought, Robert. Opens a line for you at 877-881-1053. Dak, a curse. You want to touch that?
A curse of what? Greatness?
Well, the idea would be that you didn't have Tony in there. We got this great offensive line, rookie running back, and, maybe it was destined for a championship if Tony would have been allowed to get back in there.
You just got the number 1 seed in the NFL, in the NFC, I should say. The number 1 seed, and you didn't really try in the last game. And you would have won this last game. The Eagles' offense is not very good, going against somewhat of a backup defense.
Well, I think what we're going to be up against is that whole dynamic of when you win a game, a lot of people are going to think you'll never lose another one. And Tony went out there and won a series. And now I think we're going to have that projected upon to every series he's ever played.
I'm a baseball guy, obviously played Major League Baseball, and I would say this. Just because a guy has a clean inning out of the bullpen does not mean you can now make him the starting pitcher tomorrow and he's going 7 shutout innings. He will probably get hurt because his arm isn't built to be a starting pitcher. And right now, Tony Romo, maybe he could start. He can't start 16 games. That's been proven over the last 2 years. He can't. He literally can't. Now, could he play 12? Maybe. 13? Yeah, we're stretching it there, but I mean that's now a proven fact with his body and his career. Could he be good in those 12 or 13 games? Yeah, that's been proven too. But you're asking a reliever to be a starter who can't start anymore all 16.
877-881-1053. No, I think that's a perfect analogy, Mike. Here's Andre in Shreveport. You're on the post game. What you thinking, Andre?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Happy New Year to y'all.
Happy New Year.
Hey, did y'all remember David Woodley and Don Stroud from Miami Dolphins? Romo's been good, but he was turned the ball over a lot. He had 10 years to try to get to the Super Bowl. I ain't saying he wasn't. He was trying, because it was a hard position to play. But Prescott is hot right now. Romo's still on the team. They teammates. They got to support one another. And as far as the play today, they play without getting hurt. That's a good thing. Yes. But you want to be able to stop them on the defense, because them guys out there, they're backups, but they're professionals too. You want to be playing professional ball and stop them,
I think the defense played great.
So did I.
If you take Sean Lee off the field, it's a totally different ball game.
Here's my thing. When you talk about, with Romo and how he had 10 years to try to do this and that, the quarterback gets all the praise when you win and gets all the blame when you lose. Outside of the only other season when they had 13 wins in 2007, there wasn't many teams that Romo had much around him. While he might have been stacked offensively, he was terrible defensively. While things may have been good defensively, he might have had liabilities offensively. So there was very few times where he had a team like this one, where you had so many different things going well for you at the same time. Listen, Dak has done a great job. He's done a phenomenal job. He's done something we did not think was possible to happen, and he gets a ton of credit for that. But a lot of times, I think people always say, well, Tony had a chance to do that. Again, all the weapons that Dak are playing with this year was built for Tony Romo. Every single weapon that Dak has this year was built and handmade and tailor-made for the success of Tony Romo. So this was built for him. Dak stepped in, and he did what you're supposed to do with any time you hit an opportunity as a backup. When someone gives you an opportunity as a backup, whether it be at quarterback, whether it be at radio, whatever it is, you're supposed to kill it. You're supposed to take that opportunity and run with it and never give it back. Even if they want to give it back, you're supposed to, if they decide to give it back, that's on them, but you're supposed to do everything in your God-given ability power to make them not want to give it back, and that's what he did this year.
All right, let's talk about momentum heading into the playoffs and how important it is or unimportant it is for a Week 17 victory going into the playoffs. Gavin Dawson, Jesse Holley, and Mike Bassick, 27-13 the final. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, Cowboys fans. Did you know that over the next few years, more than 1 million service members will transition from military to civilian life? Veterans face unique challenges when they get out of the military, and Bank of America and the Dallas Cowboys are teaming up to help with financial education, career opportunities, and support of military nonprofits and organizations locally in North Texas and across the country. We're proud to support our troops and are deeply grateful for the dedication and sacrifice of our service members and veterans. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys, invites you to join us in our efforts to get involved by tagging game day photos on social media using hashtag TroopThanks. That's hashtag TroopThanks. And by learning more about our commitment to veterans at bankofamerica.com/military support. Together, we can thank our troops in ways that make a real difference.
Copyright 2016, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller of Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. I believe in the craft process of distilling in batches using old-fashioned pot stills, and that's the way we still make Tito's Handmade Vodka today. We even won the World Spirits Competition, double gold, unanimous judge's choice. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from 100% corn, so it's naturally gluten-free. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka. 5th Generation Inc. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas.
When the game plan calls for fast, reliable air transportation, America counts on the global leader, Airbus Helicopters. Corporate leaders choose Airbus Helicopters for business travel. Law enforcement and emergency responders choose Airbus Helicopters to save lives. And the Army, Coast Guard, and National Guard choose Airbus Helicopters to keep Americans safe. We're the home team, based in Dallas-Fort Worth, building helicopters here in the U.S. Airbus Helicopters, a game changer in the air.
Through life's ups and downs and for all the journeys ahead, you know what to bring. The car you can count on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
McFadden, the running back, Romo in the gun. And looking left for a little fade to Williams and a great head nod. Williams caught it. Touchdown. Romo with a touchdown on his first possession of the year.
Oh, it was so cool. Yeah, I'd say that's a good candidate for our play of the game. We'll find out a little bit later on, as well as the player of the game. It might have been Tony's final game in a Cowboys uniform. What's that mean to you? Oh, wow, I brought the music down real quick on me as well. Didn't mean for it to be that dramatic, but 27-13 was the final. We can talk more, Tony, absolutely with you. I wanted to ask Jesse how important it is to maintain momentum, and if the Cowboys lost it in Philadelphia here this afternoon.
No, I don't think they did. I think they came into this game knowing we have absolutely nothing to play for. And win or lose, I don't think any momentum was gained. To be honest with you, they probably won't even watch this film. Literally, they won't even watch this film. Now, if guys want to go watch it individually, I don't think as a team they'll go and watch this film and say, hey, guys, let's, it doesn't matter. Like, it literally did not matter what happened in this football game. You know how the Cowboys won today? You know how? When we talked to Mickey Spagnola and he goes, there's not a single person on the injury list. That's how they won today. That's the momentum that they kept. They didn't lose momentum today, losing to Philadelphia 27-13 in a game that meant absolutely nothing.
Would it mean anything? Okay, a lot of backups are on the field. You're in the fourth quarter and you're down, and let's say they get a pick six return for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to steal the victory, and everybody runs into the tunnel like, hey, that was fun. Does that help?
No, it's just fun. Yeah. It's a good laugh to go on a plane with and go into your bye week laughing about it. Someone got a pick six like Heath, or a backup guy got a pick six. But listen, the Cowboys know Mark Sanchez sucks. They see him every day at practice. The team know Mark Sanchez sucks. They see him every day at practice. So it wasn't no surprise that he went out there and put that stinker up because they see it every single day. They knew what they were going to get from Mark Sanchez when he went out there.
I loved one of the plays where Mark Sanchez, it's later in the game, and he throws a ball to Terrence Williams at the back of his heel. Like, he's open by 5 yards, wide open, making an in route. And he throws it way behind him and short behind him, and they show Dez on the sideline, and Dez is talking to, I can't even remember who, but you could just try to, read his lips going, what the hell was that? Wide open by 5 yards, which doesn't happen a lot in the NFL, and you can't get it close to him?
You think that's the first time he threw that pass like that? You think it's the first time they've seen that? Listen, he's been there all year long, practicing all year long. That's not the first time they saw Mark Sanchez throw a ball into the ground with a wide open receiver.
It's amazing that he's won so many games and playoff games during his career too.
Yeah, he had a really good defensive play behind him. He was handing the ball off into a Hall of Fame.
Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin. He's hitting to Curtis Martin at the beginning, just hand it off to him and saying, hey, go do what you do.
Well, John Lynch was talking about it during the game. He said, if you have a first round bye and you come out flat in week 17, now you're looking at back-to-back weeks where maybe the emotional momentum of the team or, the temperature can come down a little bit. But I didn't feel like the Cowboys were flat today. Maybe they didn't execute, but the attitude and effort was great.
When Dak was out there, they looked good.
Yeah.
When Tony was out there, they looked good. It's when you had to deal with Mark Sanchez for 2.5 quarters. They looked bad. But for the most part, they came out energetic. They came out like they was ready to, firing all cylinders. The first two quarterbacks looked really good. The team was working. It was moving the ball down the field. They were winning. And then when you had Mark Sanchez that came in, he looked like terrible.
Poo-poo.
But even in his looking terrible, it still didn't feel like it was a flat football game.
We'll get you caught up on the scores, and we'll head into the locker room in a little bit here on the postgame show. Cowboys lose 27-13, but we want your thoughts. The segment's brought to you by Susan G. Komen. Learn how the Dallas Cowboys and Susan G. Komen are fighting to end breast cancer. Visit Komen.org/IPromise. All right, let's go here to line 4. It's Mike in New Mexico. Good afternoon, Mike. How you feeling about the Cowboys?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks for taking my call. Honestly, as one of many of the Cowboy fans, I'm not really upset. I'm not really upset because of this game. because of the fact that, you know what, it was a meaningless game. We've already locked up the number 1 seed. We have a first-round bye. We have home field advantage. What more can you ask for the team? Other than, we need to make the playoffs. And that's pretty much, I was actually happy that Tony Romo got in. I just wish he maybe had more playing time. But you know what? It's cool. One series, he put pretty much all the naysayers that, hey, I still got it. So, oh well.
Yeah, we would have enjoyed it, I think, as a fan if Tony would have come back out there and watched him do it again. But what if it was a 3-and-out? And then it would have been like, oh, now it's not as fun, right? You let it go at a point that was absolutely perfect. What if he gets hurt? Then we're like, oh my goodness, how could you possibly do that? So
I think they played it somewhat like a preseason game. If it was the third preseason game and Tony was your starting guy, and the first series goes 3-and-out and bad, they're going to be like, well, or the fourth preseason game, sorry, the one that's meaningless. And then they said, go out there for one more series. Because you want to come off the field feeling good before going into the regular season. And once Tony did that the first drive, they're like, he's going to feel great if we have to put him in a playoff game. Let's not get any other type of feeling than a great feeling going into the playoffs here.
Yeah. All right, here is Gordon in Athens. You're on the post-game show. What you thinking, Gordon?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How about them Cowboys, right?
Woo!
Yo, so number one, wanted to tell you guys have a great production staff. They've been in and on the line with me, keeping me updated. But I wanted to talk about the play of Mark Sanchez. I really appreciate you guys talking about how hot garbage he plays. Whenever you get a backup quarterback, shouldn't you try and get a backup quarterback as close to the guy that you're wanting to go with? In the off season, should we maybe try and consider going after a more mobile quarterback as a backup so that they can take over the full playbook?
Appreciate the call, Gordon.
Jesse,
unless you're getting this guy in the draft, here's the hard part about it. It's like when you try to go to the grocery store on Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, and everything's gone. And so you only thing you have to pick from is the produce and what's left over on the shelf. Now you still want to make something, so it may not be the best, so you grab what you can. And you try to get the thing closest is what the best is left out there. And unless you're going to draft someone again in the draft or pick someone up in free agent that's young, all the good backup quarterbacks in the league are taken. There aren't as many good backup quarterbacks sitting at Home Depot or sitting on their couch where you can just snatch them up.
There's not enough to have a good starter for every team.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not enough quarterbacks to go around.
It'll just show you. If Mark Sanchez has a job next year, which I don't believe he should in the NFL, I think that should be the last game he ever wears an NFL jersey. That's how pathetic he is. But if he does, it shows how the lack of depth there is in the NFL, that Mark Sanchez can actually have a job in the NFL still. He doesn't believe he can complete passes. When he throws it, he's praying to God that somebody is there that's on his team that can catch it. He's in a hope mode. He doesn't believe he can do it anymore. And if he has a job, it shows you there's very few guys that can do this.
Like even the guy that we got rid of last year, Brandon Wheaton, he has a job. Look at the Jets. They got 18 quarterbacks, and they still can't find one. There just aren't quality quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, to go around the football league, let alone quality backup that you can bring in and have on your roster if something was to happen to your starting quarterback.
I think to the caller's point, like if you wanted to draft a quarterback and say, well, if our starter gets hurt, we're pretty much going to run with our quarterback or with Zeke, I'd be okay with that.
But what do you
think
draft
it'd be a
him
strategy.
at? Like, I think this to allocate the resources to draft a quarterback at this point.
I'm drafting him day 3. He can't throw. We're running. He comes in, we're running. I think that would be better.
Well, you got Jamil Showers for that.
Sure. Okay, we don't even need one then.
You don't even need one. You got Jamil Showers on your football team.
And the great thing is, Dak looks like he's built like Donovan McNabb, like some of these guys that have had careers where they don't really get hurt.
All right, 27-13, Cowboys lose in Philly. They finished the season 13-3 on the year. We're going to take a look at the scoreboard and then head into the locker room. Here are some player interviews when we return. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
The holiday season is upon us, and you're likely searching for the best deals on the finest wines, the coolest beer, and the smoothest liquor. No matter what you celebrate next, be sure to stop by your neighborhood Goody Goody. With low prices and incredible selection, our beverage specialist can help you find the right drink for any occasion. Goody Goody. toast of the town. Discover low prices on all your holiday spirits at one of 14 area Goody Goody locations. Find your nearest store at goodygoody.com. That's goodygoody.com.
When you need help for yourself, your business, or a financial institution, financial services can be a complicated game. You need a team you can trust. Through 40 years in the game, SWBC has coached individuals, businesses, and financial institutions. SWBC provides insurance, mortgages, and more, and assists businesses with employee benefits, insurance, and payroll. Pass the ball to SWBC and let them create a winning game plan for your financial needs. Call 866-923-6403 or visit SWBC.com.
Ashley Home Store, carrying the #1 furniture brand in America, along with the Dallas Cowboys, proudly supports a Hope to Dream charity, helping to change deserving children's lives with a new bed and the chance for a good night's sleep so they can get the rest they need to lead better, more productive lives. Every mattress purchased at Ashley helps make a difference in a child's life. For more information, contact HopeToDream.com.
The Omni Fort Worth Hotel is a great place to relax before and after the big game. Reserve your room for your next visit to Fort Worth. Visit omnihotels.com/Fort Worth.
Get in the game and go to Albertsons when you're looking for fresh produce. From farm fresh peaches to organic strawberries, Albertsons has every variety you can imagine. If you're looking for convenience, well, we have that too. Fresh cut daily, ready to add to any of your favorite recipes. And if it's that healthy snack for the backpack or lunch bag, we have that too with our fresh grab and goes. So shop where it pays to play. Save 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboy game day when you wear your Cowboy jersey. Albertsons, the official supermarket of the Dallas Cowboys.
Gleaming floors and pristine restrooms, the sign of a well-run facility? With Pollock, janitorial supply is solved. Could always having toner, sticky notes, and coffee make your office more productive? With Pollock, workplace efficiency is solved. Want to get more products on every pallet? With Pollock, smarter packaging is solved. Anything you need, where you need it, when you need it. Count on it. Pollock is where solved happens. Call 1-800-843-7320 or visit Pollock.com.
The Dallas Cowboys Pepsi postgame show continues. Brought to you by
Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and be proud to be a Bigelow Tea drinker. Ashley Home Store. Bell Nunnally. Cast a Big Shadow. Texaco. Texaco with Techron. Driving performance. Goody Goody. Low prices on fine wine, craft beer, and premium liquor. Goody Goody. Toast of the town. Thomas, Alexander, and Forrester Attorneys. Fear the Taft. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
The Jason Garrett Show, Monday morning at 8:30 on The Fan.
Welcome back. It's Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Holly. We're about to be joined by Brad Sham. We'll get the very latest from his perspective out of Philadelphia. Cowboys fall 27-13 against the Eagles and end the year at 13-3 on the year. And here he is, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
Good. Good afternoon, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just don't feel like it's a loss because everybody stayed healthy and Tony Romo gave us a moment. It feels fun after a loss, and it's kind of a different feeling. How about you?
Yeah, well, there was nothing to lose in the loss. That's the thing. And then you have to look at the people who didn't play. Both teams didn't play, some people, but obviously there's a different agenda than just doing everything you can to win the game when you have some of the people on the sideline that you had. So, and I think you're right. Romo gave everybody a moment. That was fun. And, I thought Randy Gregory flew around, did some things. So there's nothing but good to look forward to.
Do you have any idea about Randy Gregory's availability for the playoffs?
No, I don't. He doesn't. Front office staff that I talked to don't. No, everybody's in the dark. And Randy, I asked him that after we finished with the postgame TV show. I didn't want to put him on the spot for something that I suspected he didn't know. And sure enough, his answer was, I said, do you know? He said, honestly, I don't. And to tell you the truth, half the time when I find something out, I find it out because the media reported it. They don't tell me anything. And so we're just going to wait. I don't know what they're waiting on. It's kind of silly. But if he's available, I think he's showed the last two games that he can be of some help.
Brad Sham, voice of the Dallas Cowboys, joins us on the post-game show. Brad, we saw Tony Romo for a very small sample size, but That very small sample size looked pretty darn good. Well, I mean, what did you see? Did you have that same feel-good thing run through your body when he came on the field and you saw him throw the ball around?
Sure, Jess. You know, he looked good. He looked pretty sharp, and he didn't have his left tackle, and he didn't have the number one running back. But yeah, he looked comfortable. He looked sharp. I knew that he was energized and ready to play and anxious to play, and he looked like Tony Romo to me. So absolutely.
What do you think that performance means for all parties involved?
Gavin, you broke up in the middle of the question. I couldn't hear you.
What's the takeaway from Tony's performance? What does it mean for him, for the team? Is anything changed?
Well, I think it certainly means that they've got as good a backup as anybody's got going into the playoffs. And after that, I would be guessing. I mean, my guess would be that it would reinforce his desire to want to play. Still, in a perfect world, I would love to see him be here and be the backup and be around and be of help. And I don't know that that's going to happen. It's probably illogical to think that it will. And so he certainly didn't do anything to hurt his value by showing what he showed there. But I think that the fact that he still got a lot of enthusiasm in the game and clearly quite a lot left in the tank was pretty evident out there. So that's all positive.
So one thing that we're taking from some of our callers, Brad, is the idea of losing momentum going in, and they should do more. Like I think maybe some fans felt like they got indications the team was going to do everything they could to win, and then they didn't do everything they could to win. Is there any risk, you think, of losing momentum here in a Week 17 spot like this?
You know, I think it's a really tricky place to be, especially when you have the two games. And I might be more inclined to agree with that if we had not seen what we saw last Monday night. I thought that was really important because they didn't have anything more or less to play for against Detroit, and we saw how they played. So now I think it's a business, and the prudent business way to approach it is that you take your Lees and your Wittens and your Elliots and your Prescotts and the guys who didn't play. Bryant came out early, and I think you say that it's just not worth it to risk losing them now for this game. And you say, well, what about Detroit? Can you say the same thing? Yeah, but 2 weeks to take your foot off the pedal, that's too many. And I do think that now, I thought they played hard. They just didn't play very well all the time. And now I think they can go in. It sounds like they're going to have 2 days off and come back on Wednesday. And I guarantee you, when they get in, the hammer will be down and the focus will be back on there. I don't know if they'll win that playoff game or not, but there won't be anybody accusing them of any Cabo moments or losing their focus, or they're locked in and ready to go. And I think that the prudent thing today was to be smart with how you use your players. I think we can see from the balance of the season the way the coaching staff approaches it and the players buy into it, that losing that edge is not going to be a big issue.
Hey, Brad, I think and who knows who's going to win the NFL MVP, but I think you'll get some votes for Dak Prescott. I think it actually helped him today to watch Mark Sanchez, and I know that there were guys out when Mark Sanchez was the quarterback, but to watch what this offense might look like, it looked just like 2015 without Dak Prescott.
It didn't look good. It did not look good. And I said it on the air, Mike. I thought that Sanchez was jumpier in the first half than Prescott had been at any time all year. Now, I did think he came back out in the second half, settled down a little bit, and then the protection started to break down around him. He was kind of running for his life. But I thought that he did not look in the first half when he came in as good as Prescott has looked in terms of calm and demeanor and that kind of thing at any time all year. That's an interesting thing to think because, just as, Gavin, you were talking about Romo and going forward and his trade value, and it's, you don't want to think about anything but right now, but it is a business, and you think about, how you're going to put your roster together for next year. That's part of the job of the front office. And so one of the things that goes through your mind is, well, okay, if Romo's not here, I've got Kellen Moore and Sanchez both here. Do we have an interesting battle for the backup quarterback job? Should we keep them both? And I think I'd like to have seen Sanchez be a little more productive and a little calmer today.
Thank you so much for your time, Brad. Have a great flight.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Take
Talk
care.
to you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. Brad Sham, voice of the Cowboys, called the boys losing 27-13 at Philly. And, we will hear from him in a couple of weeks. We have the Giants leading the Redskins, by the way, 10-0 mid-second quarter. Jesse?
I got a quick note from Drew Daveson from the Star-Telegram. He says, Stephen Jones said Randy Gregory expected to have an appeal hearing in 7 to 10 days, which they will know his status for the playoffs. So in about 7 to 10 days, probably a little closer to 7 days than the 10 days to hear about what his playoff status is going forward.
Okay. This feels like a story that's been a compromise between the Cowboys and the league, and maybe people had to vote on it, but it really, really feels like the Cowboys went to the NFL and said, listen, he's been suspended twice. He's going to serve another year. These are both meaningless games. If they are meaningless games, can you hold off on suspending him so he can get a taste of what the NFL is like? Maybe it'll serve as better motivation for him to stay off of marijuana. That helps us. That helps him. And if it's in meaningless games, it doesn't hurt the rest of the league. And maybe he can make a little bit of money. He's also a guy that is just out of college and has been suspended for so much. He can make a little bit of money, help him bridge his gap to when he'll be able to play next in 2018 now. He's going to go serve so that's what it sounds like to me.
You know what hurts as a Cowboy fan? He can help you win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to say he's awesome yet, but you see flashes and you see him get cut and he gets up and with 1.5 seconds, he's back on the quarterback getting a sack. And then he hits Darren Sproles, like they hand the ball off and he could have handed it off to two guys. Yeah. Wentz could have handed it off to Darren Sproles or he could have handed it off to Randy Gregory. That's how quick he was in the backfield. So losing him for the playoffs now, it's almost like as a Cowboy fan, I was like, man, I'd rather not have seen him these two games because if he is suspended for the playoffs, he's a piece that can get to the quarterback maybe once or twice in a playoff game and affect the game.
All right, this is perfect because Fish is with Randy Gregory in the Cowboys locker room, and we're going to head in and hear that in just a moment. Brought to you by AT&T, which covers 99% of all Americans, which makes it easier for you to connect with family and friends with AT&T's networks. You're never far, mobilizing your world. Let's come back and hear from Fish with Gregory. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Support is everything. Having someone behind you to kind of push you along and to help you along the way means everything. And they're there to really help get you to where you want to go.
You may not know Kevin, but chances are you know a Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas member like him.
Working for Blue Cross has been an unbelievable experience. I feel like I am making a difference. People are not numbers. People are people. And you have to always look back and think, hey, if this was my mother or father or sister or brother, I'd want the best for them. We make sure that people are being cared for in the way that they need to be cared for. It's the right thing to do. And I've been covered by Blue Cross throughout my whole life. The value far exceeds the cost. It really gives you some peace of mind. They're with you through it all.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
Being a Longhorn, we all share one thing: pride. Good old Texas pride. And no matter how we show it loud. It ain't there just on game day. It's there Monday, Tuesday, hell, every day. It's an unstoppable force that tears through tackles, obstacles, and more importantly, your veins. It's a badge of honor. So wear it proud.
We are Texas Apparel, the official gear of the Texas Longhorns. Now available at Academy Sports and Outdoors. We are Texas. Wear it proud.
What sets senior care centers apart from other rehabilitation and long-term care facilities? Senior Care Centers is committed to excellence in clinical care, providing an environment that feels like home and treasuring people like family. To learn more about our centers throughout Texas, visit seniorcarecentersltc.com or call 972-834-5273. Senior Care Centers is a proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys. Integrity, growth, respect, excellence, wellness. Our values, our commitment.
As football fans, Raising Cane's believes in Russian quarterbacks. But not our hot, fresh, 24-hour marinated chicken. We believe in running out the clock. but never out of our refreshing sweet tea and lemonade. And we believe in supporting the Cowboys with the same passion we have for serving our customers. Because when it comes to Dallas Cowboys football, we go all out. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
For nearly 40 years, SWBC Solutions has been teaming up with people, companies, and financial institutions in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com.
We at Elan want to express our thanks to you. We built the Elan VIP Club to give you a convenient chance to enjoy contest prizes and specials in the store and at the pump. To join the Elan VIP Club, text Elan, A-L-O-N, to 444-222. That's Elan, A-L-O-N, to 444-222 for contests and specials. Thanks for having Elan help you along the way. Max 6 messages per month. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions at myelan.com. Text STOP to 444-222 to stop. Text HELP to 444-222 for help.
To work this big land, you need equipment with values rooted as deep in Texas soil as you are. Like John Deere compact tractors with a 6-year powertrain warranty and big features that help you work less so you have more time to do what you love. John Deere was first in the Texas fields, and we're proud to be on the field as the official ag and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Find Texas-sized deals at myjohndeeredealer.com/football. Terms, conditions, exclusions, and warranty limitations apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, I'm Charles Haley, the only pro football player to win 5 rings. When I was on the football field, I hit quarterbacks like a ton of brick, but not just any old brick. I hit them like Acme brick, the strongest, toughest brick around, the one with a 100-year guarantee to keep looking beautiful. Acme brick is a lot like me, because I still look beautiful too. To get Acme brick quality, look for the Acme name.
Hey NFL fans, you can win real NFL prizes from Pepsi and Tostitos, but you can also win unreal NFL experiences. Collect codes when you buy Tostitos or Pepsi, and you could win a real football helmet signed by an NFL pro. Or you could win an unreal trip to the 2017 NFL Pro Bowl. You could win real NFL gear just in time for Super Bowl 51. Or you could actually go to Super Bowl 51. So crack open a Pepsi, grab some Tostitos, then enter your codes at PepsiandTostitos.com.
No purchase necessary. Visit PepsiandTostitos.com for details.
Wentz in an empty gun at the Philly 25. Back to throw. They cut Gregory. He's still there and got it. Well, Gregory's just a beast on that play.
Yeah, Randy Gregory, number 94, had a tackle for loss and a sack. He will have an appeal hearing in 7 to 10 days that's going to determine his status for the divisional round of the playoffs. I feel more than 90% sure that he will not be available. But we're going to hear from Randy Gregory with Mike Fisher. His first career sack. You know, last year he got a lot of pressure in his rookie year, but he had the ankle injury that he suffered early, and he never got home, but he finally did today for the Cowboys, and his body is developing. He's getting stronger. You can see it, and he rushes the passer differently than any of the other Cowboys defensive linemen. So definitely valuable for the Cowboys to have. They lose today 27-13. The segment's brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And let's head into the Cowboys locker room.
Just being able to get back out there and play, you know, my teammates and things like that is enough for me. So, you know, I'm not really focused on all that. As far as I know, I can't really do anything else to help my cause or hurt my cause. So, you know, everyone else that's, you know, dealing with that situation, I'll let it play out on his own. And, I'll handle all the things I can control, which is going out there and making plays.
Do you feel like you're going at a different speed than a lot of other guys? Because it looks like it from where we sit.
I still think I probably have another notch. You know, being out of the game for so long, I'm still trying to get back up to speed. But I think I'm progressing a little bit, and hopefully I can continue that throughout the playoffs.
That would be very exciting. You know, he flashed last week against Detroit. We were talking about how he was disruptive in the backfield, and then to follow it up today, you could probably say right now he's the Cowboys' most disruptive defensive lineman and not be totally out of whack.
Even not playing for almost a year, Randy Gregory still has just the natural pass rushing ability more than anyone else on that defensive side of the ball. That's just that's what he is. It's who he is. He doesn't need much practice at it. He doesn't need much coaching at it. Listen, see the guy with the skinny guy back there with the football in his hand is dropping back. Go get him. And he just has the athletic ability and a natural God-given ability to, when the ball is hiked, for him to go get the quarterback. Now, the repetition and the teaching and the coaching helps it out. But just naturally who Randy Gregory is, he's a pass rusher. So when you put him into the game, he's going to look better than anyone else that we have there because that's his God-given ability to go rush the quarterback.
You can see why the Cowboys in the second round, late in the second round, said screw it.
Yeah.
You know, like, because every other team got to it and they're like, we can't say screw it yet. And the Cowboys were like, what the hell? Let's do it because if he didn't have the problems off the field, then he would probably be a top 15 pick. And we're going to take the chance. And you can see all the ability in the world to be one of the 5 best pass rushers in the NFL in his prime. But I don't know if he'll ever be able to have that chance.
So we were wondering after his second positive test of the year, and now he's headed for the lifetime ban. It was the 4, it was the 10, or it was the season-long ban. I got ahead of myself there with a lifetime ban. But we were wondering why the NFL hadn't made a ruling on it. And then as week 16 got closer, it was like, oh, well, they do this all the time where they give you false hope and then right before your suspension's about to come off. And it just didn't make sense. And then all of a sudden next week we're going into game day and it's like, oh my goodness, Randy Gregory has not been suspended yet. What has happened? And I thank the NFL for it, but I don't know. I really wish that if they were going to suspend him, and I believe they still are, that you would have just had the suspensions run concurrently and then get him back next year, because, then he would be available for the playoffs next year. But hey, the fact that he came back and at least gave us something to keep in mind now. If it's not till 2018 when he returns, it's like you can look off into the distance now in between him and Jalen Smith and whatever else they add in free agency. Eventually this defense is going to be really, really difficult to stay on the field against.
And wouldn't we, if we didn't get to see this, Gavin, the 2 games, and they weren't awesome, but for a guy like we're talking about who's barely played football in 2 years, what he's done, we would say, just release him. Yeah. Just release him and open up the spot for another guy to try out and maybe make the team. But when you watch those 2 games, now I'm like, all right, fine, he's suspended for all of 17 most likely. Hold on to him because if somehow he can beat his demons inside of him, you do have a premium player.
And that's a great point because whenever he gets suspended, people say, get him off the team. He doesn't respect his opportunity. But when you see the talent out there in a game like this, you understand why. Yeah.
So now let me ask you this question. While he's serving this season-long ban next year, if there's an incident or an off-the-field altercation while he's serving the suspension, do you give up hope on him then? Or do you say that, as Jerry would say, it's an ugly baby, but it's our baby?
What's the 4th, if he does it again, what's the deal? I know 3 years is a year suspension. Is 4th a lifetime, and then you have to appeal to see if you get back in the NFL? Because maybe if he does test positive a 4th time and now he has to appeal to the NFL 2 years down the road, then I'd say, okay, at this point, look, we're looking at 2020 till he could possibly play. And at that point, I'd say it's just not going to happen for the guy.
Yeah, I'm just Googling up what it would look like at that point. If it's, no, not for this team. Not until they have at least 3 good defensive ends. If they've gone this far, there's nothing that would then materialize on the other side of that next suspension, right? Where you're like, okay, now you know what it is with Randy Gregory. And unless he's showing up at the job, there's 2 different kinds of baggage. Some don't poke their head out when they walk inside the front door. It all happens off the field. And those I'm fine with. If you're showing up and being a jerk to the coach and talking other players into your bad habits, that's an issue. But as long as that talent is in there and he's under 28 or 29 years old, I'll continue to give him more chances. You never know when somebody's going to change their life for good. The number's 877-881-1053. And if you have thoughts on Randy Gregory, Tony Romo, or the postseason, we'll take them. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Hawley. And what do we want to do over here? Go to line 7. It's John in Albuquerque. Thanks for calling in the postgame show, John. What's up?
Hi, guys. How you doing? I got a lot of points to make, and I'll try and be brief. Brad Sham pretty much touched on everything I wanted to say. This game was pretty much like a preseason game. I applaud Jason Garrett and the coaching staff for handling it the way they did. I think keeping Ezekiel Elliott out of the game was the right decision, and it sent a message to the young rookie that the rookie rushing record was not the goal here. The goal is to get to the Super Bowl and win it. As far as Tony Romo, I wish he would have stayed in the game. They probably could have won the game if he would have been in there. And the defensive Mark Sanchez, he's nothing but an insurance policy, as bad as he was. He wasn't behind the number one offensive line. He didn't have Zeke back there. But the guy's got to perform. The other thing I wanted to mention was...
You could have gave Mark Sanchez the Holy Trinity, and he wasn't scoring a touchdown.
Cool. And the other point I wanted to make was the Dallas defense and what a witch Rob Marinelli is. They held in check a Philly offense that has some weapons. I know they're not really that great, but they played much better with their backups than they did when they played them earlier in the year. And Rod Marinelli is such a witch. He's got the players believing what he's selling. They're playing for that guy. It's just amazing. And as far as the momentum, I believe that the momentum is going to be regained in practice. I don't think they lost anything. I think the way they approached this game today was spot on. And you know these players are hungry, especially after what happened in Green Bay 2 years ago.
Appreciate it, yeah. And, Green Bay might be amongst the teams that the Cowboys could face in the divisional round. Packers or Giants is probably the most likely scenario. We'll keep you updated on these.
How about this real quick, since we're kind of going updates on who we could possibly play? The Seattle Seahawks, who right now are the 3 seed, they stink on the road. They're losing to the 49ers right now 14-13 before halftime. The running back, Sean Drawn, if I'm saying his last name right, has 2 touchdowns already on the ground.
Tar Heel.
You have Colin Kaepernick, who's 11 of 13 for 147 yards, and there's still 4 minutes and change to play before halftime. Seattle on the road is a totally different team. So that's why I guess that's why I'm feeling so good about the Cowboys. In fact, I don't know how it could work out, but I'd rather right now the way Seattle plays on the road, that's not a bad team to play.
Yeah, I think Seattle is probably number 4 for me. I don't want to face the Packers and then the Giants and then probably the Falcons and then Seattle would be right there. So yeah, if Seattle isn't home right now, I think they're at best a 500 football team.
And just to start the second quarter, it's 21-10 Atlanta. So they put up 3 touchdowns pretty much in the first quarter against New Orleans. So they can put up a lot of points in a hurry.
Yeah. All right, Matt Ryan through a quarter and a half is 12 of 13 with 170 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, there's still 12 minutes left.
Wow. You have the Giants leading the Redskins 10-0 late in the first half. The Cardinals are leading the Rams 13-0. That game midway through the second quarter, David Johnson came off the field with a brutal leg injury. There's no way it's not catastrophic in an 8 or 9 month recovery for that, right?
It screams ACL. Yeah. If not more. That looked like ACL.
And that's to all the Cowboy fans right now. If you're listening and you're getting ticked off at us because we're not talking about the Cowboys having a winning attitude and a winning mind going to Philadelphia, what if that was Ezekiel Elliott's knee today? What if you would have played Ezekiel Elliott today and Fletcher Cox or somebody like that were to get a nice hit on him and it blows out his ACL and you don't have him for the playoffs? Did that game mean that much to you, Cowboy fans, that you wanted it that much that you would have possibly put Zeke out there? Because David Johnson's been a durable running back in his short career. And so it was a smart move by the Cowboys, the things that they did.
Yeah, there's a risk-reward assessment in there, and I just don't know how people are looking at it. I don't know. I guess when the coaches get up there all week and say, we're going in there to play and we're going to win and it's very important we win, you do this rah-rah stuff for 6 days and you show up on the 7th day and then your actions don't match those words. Maybe it's setting some fans up for a false expectation.
See, that part about it, you have to understand the coach's logic. Because if I tell guys on Monday, Zeke, so-and-so, 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 you guys aren't playing Sunday.
Party time.
It's party time.
Right.
Guys aren't taking it serious. But
that's the player perspective. I'm talking about the fan perspective.
I'm saying the fan, they have to look at it like a coach will look at it. I have to say these things to my players and say it to the media so that you think it. So that you think that you're going to play.
Zeke thought he was playing today.
He thought he was playing today. So
that's an awful nuanced level of understanding, and that's what I'm saying. Not all fans are going to have your level of experience and be able to process that and say, oh, the coach was just saying that.
If any of these fans have children, it's the same logic. If you do good all week in school, you'll get ice cream on Friday. If you do so-and-so and so-and-so, it's the same logic. I got to tell you one thing to get something out of you and then do something different. It's like, you got certain things you have to kind of play the mind game with your athlete. You have a child. You got to say, hey, listen.
A lot of bad parenting going on out there.
Yeah, well, Who am I? I don't have any children, so I'm just.
No, I hear you.
I'm learning on the fly. I'll learn on the fly.
No, I think we're saying the same thing, and that it's it's kind of ridiculous.
As a fan, you get psyched up. To Gavin's point, as a fan, you get psyched up. Like you might have decided, boy, my wife wanted to do this on Sunday, but the Cowboys have sold me Monday through Saturday that they're actually going to play real meaningful football. So, hey, wife, I'm sorry. I'm not going to the family deal for New Year's because the Cowboys are going to try. And then you flip on the TV at noon and you're like, why the hell is Darren McFadden the leading running back right now? And then,
trust me, watching Mark Sanchez is better than going to any in-law family situation.
I'll tell you what, I will pay money not to watch Mark Sanchez play football.
Yeah, okay, 27-13, Cowboys fall to the Eagles. I think that's another part of it. Just losing to Philly is never fun. You get emotionally involved. You think you got a chance to win with backups. I could see that happening. Broncos are blowing out the Raiders 17-0. That game late first half. Chiefs lead the Chargers 17-10 at the 2-minute warning. It's the Seahawks 19 and the 49ers 14. And some finals from earlier. The Bengals beat the Ravens 27-10. Titans over the Texans 24-17. Buccaneers beat the Panthers 17-16. Colts over the Jags 24-20. Patriots beat the Dolphins 35-14 to secure home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Vikings over the Bears 38-10. Complete domination in that one as Sam Bradford looked great, 25 of 33. Chicago's awful. They need a total house cleaning there, don't they? Jets beat the Bills 30-10. It was the Steelers beating the Browns 27-24. Cleveland almost won. They actually kicked a field goal to go up 24-21 to start overtime, but then the Steelers get the ball and go all the way down the field. Landry Jones throwing a game-winning touchdown pass.
That would have been the worst win for Browns in the history of their team, as they would have gone to the possible second pick in the draft if San Francisco loses this afternoon. It would have.
It's funny that you got to say it. The worst loss for Brown is actually a win, and they can't win football games.
Okay, we'll come back and get you the performance of the game and then take your thoughts on Tony, on how the season ended 13-3 on the year and what playoff opponent you're feeling most confident about. That's next in the nation. My bad. You're listening. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Walk into any Choctaw casino or resort, and we won't just say hello. We'll welcome you to the wow. Look around. See your favorite games next to the newest titles. The top names in entertainment, just steps from delicious dining. Enjoy what you want, when you want. Welcome to the wow. Welcome to Choctaw Casinos and Resorts. Find the nearest destination at ChoctawCasinos.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Welcome to the wow.
At Elephant Auto Insurance, we like to reward our customers with more than just peanuts. That's why we're introducing tons of discounts that just about anyone can qualify for. Discounts for responsible drivers, multi-car discounts, discounts for homeowners, discounts for renters, early shopping discounts, online quote discounts, good student discount. I could do this all day. Pay in full discounts.
More care, less cost.
Discounts.
See the elephant difference at elephant.com.
For more than 30 years, the Dallas-based law firm of Bell Nunnally has been casting a big shadow for its clients. As a full-service business law firm with more than 55 award-winning attorneys, Bell Nunnally is proud to include commercial litigation, mergers and acquisitions, real estate, intellectual property, and white-collar criminal defense in its extensive list of practices. Go to bellnunnally.com or call 214-740-1400. Think big. Talk to Bell Nunnally today.
Blue 42! When you listen to the Cowboys game. Blue 42! Zach Hunt! Like you're in the Cowboys game. Revel Audio and the all-new Lincoln Continental. It immerses you in every note of music and every Cowboys game like you're on the field. That's Continental. And this is Lincoln, the official luxury vehicle of your Dallas Cowboys.
I'm traveling a lot, always have a craving for Whataburger. I had to make a connection in Houston, had about an hour. Whataburger just opened at Terminal B. Boom, I need to have a patty melt. The creamy pepper sauce, Monterey Jack cheese, bread's toasted. Grabbed my patty melt, started rushing it back. By the time I got there, the lady was just closing the door. She sees my bag. She goes, sorry, but if you give me your Whataburger, I'll let you on the plane. And I told her, book me on to the next flight. And I was late for work, but it was worth every bite. I don't think anything tops a patty melt at Whataburger.
The whistle of the ball as it spirals towards the end zone. The harmonious roar of excitement from the stands as if to say, this is our team, this is our game, this is our Super Bowl, and we're taking it. 273 yards, 4 touchdowns, January 28th, 1996. We remember. Do you? For moments you want to relive again and again, come to CSD Framing in Carrollton, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether it's your favorite photo, jersey, or pigskin, we frame it all custom and in-house. CSD, we get your frame of mind.
Hey fans, as the Cowboys look to bring home another victory.
Thrown in the end zone, wide open, touchdown.
Crown Royal would like to remind you to bring yourselves home safely. So after enjoying a delicious Crown Royal Regal Apple cocktail, call a cab or catch a ride with a designated driver. Because part of being smooth to the core is being safe. Crown Royal Regal Apple flavored whiskey, smooth to the core.
35% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2015, The Crown Royal Company, Norwalk, Connecticut. Please drink responsibly.
Are you a football fan? Here's your chance to score big. Affinity is Texaco's new rewards program that rewards you for being a fan. Visit affinity.com to sign up. Redeem your points for unique experiences with your favorite team, autographed merchandise, officially licensed gear, and game tickets. Register at affinity.com and start earning points today. That's AFANITY.com. See program rules for details.
Football fans know how critical it is to have the right talent on the field. Your business is no different. Innovative has 20 years of proven success placing thousands of professionals for managers like you. Our clients love our low-fee programs starting at 10%, quick turnaround for urgent hires, and the ability to payroll and manage talent on your own. For more info, visit gotoinnovative.com. That's G-O, 2, innovative.com, or call 972-392-1144.
Get in the game and go to Albertsons when you're looking for fresh produce. From farm fresh peaches to organic strawberries, Albertsons has every variety you can imagine. If you're looking for convenience, well, we have that too. Fresh cut daily, ready to add to any of your favorite recipes. And if it's that healthy snack for the backpack or lunch bag, we have that too with our fresh grab and goes. So shop where it pays to play. Save 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboy game day when you wear your Cowboy jersey. Albertsons, official supermarket of the Dallas Cowboys.
The G-Bag Nation, middays on 105.3 The Fan.
Wentz has time to go into the end zone. There you go, Ertz, wide open running in the end zone. Ran away from Gachkar, caught for a touchdown.
Man, he was great. Zach Ertz was 13 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns on 16 targets. Zach Ertz responsible for our performance of the game, brought to you by Bridgestone. Their passion for performance knows no bounds. Bridgestone, the official tire of the National Football League. We're taking your thoughts on the Cowboys' loss in Philly, 27-13. The fact they're 13-3 on the year it's incredible. Thoughts on Tony Romo's performance and how he came back, and then who you feel most confident about facing in the playoffs. Those are amongst the topics of discussion for you to consider.
Jesse, I want to ask you a question real quick on Zach Ertz. How hard is it, or is it easier to double team a wide receiver when you look at a team like Philadelphia? He's by far their best weapon on offense. How tough is it to take out a tight end compared to taking out a wide receiver where you can just put kind of like a really strong double team on a wide receiver?
Well, with a tight end, you usually go safety linebacker. Kind of linebacker underneath, safety over the top. So there's some wiggle room in there because the linebacker necessarily can't cover his best. A receiver, you go DB, safety. And so it's easier to take a wide receiver out than it is a tight end.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't want to say a huge weakness of the Cowboys because I think Byron Jones is very good, but you go back to the Jordan Reed game where they gave up over 500 yards and Jordan Reed was killing you. This game, I know that you had Sean Lee out and stuff like that, but Zach Ertz kills you. I just wonder, going into the playoffs, could we be looking at a tight end going for, and your buddy Ebron had a good game, right, the last game against the Cowboys, where like, is a tight end going to be possibly the death of the Cowboys playoff run?
Well, when you look at what we're up against, the only true threat as far as tight end that will bother you, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
And you won't see him till the NFC Championship.
Yeah, possibly.
Washington, if they get in, maybe Jordan Reed, but I don't even know how healthy he is. But other than that, there's no other tight end in the NFC East that you have to worry about except Graham when you see Seattle.
How much of the excellent play from Ebron and now Ertz is a result of the Anthony Brown injury and moving Byron Jones around?
I just think the Cowboys have had a a hole in their defense all year long to tight ends. They've been susceptible to tight ends having decent performances against them. That's just what it is. I think Byron Jones is a good defender. I still think he's learning. I still think he has a lot to learn at that position. But tight ends and the way that the Cowboys play defense has always been a weak point for them. The problem is, one, you don't have enough tight ends in this division, or they see every single year to really affect them. Two, is that when they control the ball so much and they put you in such tight situations that you're forced to kind of speed up the process and have to go down the field more. So you tend to go to more wide receivers than you do tight ends.
All right, let's head on up to Philadelphia once again and check in with Mickey Spagnola, who's exited in the stadium and heading for the bus, probably on the way to the airport or something like that. Good afternoon, Mick. How you doing?
Actually, we're already on the plane. So,
oh, wow.
I can talk to you until they shut the door, probably.
That sounds good.
They fired up that bus in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's only like about a 10 or 15-minute ride from the stadium to the airport here. It's real quick.
And they didn't have anybody limping behind that they had to wait for or anything like that,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't see anybody on crutches or anything. From my understanding, they got through it pretty well. Nothing major. There might be a couple nicks and bruises, but it didn't sound like anything that wouldn't heal in 2 weeks' time to be ready to play the playoff game on, I'm guessing, January 15th.
Were you surprised it was such a short sample size, but how good Tony looked?
Yeah, 6 plays, 3 of 4, 29 yards. Would have had 29 or 32 more if there wasn't the interference call down to the 3-yard line, and then threw a sweet pass to Terrence Williams for the Cowboys' only touchdown of the game. So, yeah, he seemed, kind of pleased. Wasn't surprised. I think we probably talked more about rust on him than he actually felt rust or admitted to rust anyway. So, yeah, pretty nice performance for the one possession, and seeing what happened after that, it's a darn good thing Tony Romo's the backup quarterback.
Mick, were Philly fans as fired up for this Cowboys game as usual, since they didn't have really much to play for and the Cowboys didn't have either?
I felt very unappreciated. We came in on the buses, and no one threw an egg at the bus. And I only saw one group of fans in the middle of a parking lot give us the double-barrel finger. And so, yeah, they just didn't have any animosity towards the Cowboys. So, yeah, underappreciated, probably a good word.
What do you think of Carson Wentz here at the end of his rookie year? Have they found their guy?
Oh, absolutely. I've been saying this. He's awfully good. Now, again, consider who the Cowboys had there playing in the second half, but you can see he can throw the ball. He's elusive. For the most part, he makes good reads when he doesn't get careless with it. And they just need to put better people around him, better receivers around him, and a better offensive line. And I think that, they've got something special there. Absolutely. The Cowboys basically accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. I think for a half, they maintained their edge. It was 10-10 at halftime with, whoever they had playing, and then basically pulled whatever starters they could afford to pull and still have 11 guys on the field. So they kept guys healthy, no injuries, and, you saw Tony Romo. They didn't seem like an abundance of rust on him. And basically, got done what they wanted to do here. You would have liked to win the game if you could, but that wasn't the primary goal, as you saw when you see who they not only left behind, the 7 players who were inactive that had injuries, but also choosing not to play the likes of Sean Lee and Ron Leary and Ezekiel Elliott, guys who suited up, but they chose to not put in the game.
Yeah, Mick, I was going to ask you about the Ezekiel Elliott. Was there anything that anyone said? Because leading up to that point, he thought he was going to play, but was there anything said that why they decided not to just play him at all?
They just decided that there was no reason to do that. They wanted to ensure his health and not, leave him susceptible to any nick or bruise going into the first round of the playoffs. So they just felt like that was the safest thing to do. And knowing that, how they were going to play the game, just 2 series with Dak and then Zeke with Tony with 1 and then the rest with Sanchez, I think they just thought that this is the best way to go about it. And I don't know. I think they basically he was taped up, ready to go. He was warming up like he was going to play, and I think that's what they wanted, for all these guys to maintain their focus, not only through the week, but leading up to game time, and then say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the plan.
So Zeke didn't know till right then?
I don't think so. I didn't get any clue unless they told him before they came out for warm-up with their uniforms on. But beforehand, he looked like he was all fired up, ready to go. But as it turned out, I don't know what Murray and Le'Veon Bell finished with, but they certainly didn't gain 300 yards to catch him. So he becomes the first rookie to win the rushing crown since 1999 when Edgerrin James did it with the Colts.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell didn't even play today.
He didn't play, and last time I looked, Murray had like 15 yards, so they obviously didn't catch up, right?
And David Johnson's not catching him either, because his season might be over next year.
Yeah, David Johnson went out with a really gruesome injury, got carted off the field.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's kind of like to all Cowboy fans are like, why didn't Zeke play? Well, David Johnson, obviously their season's over, but he might not play next year either now.
And then I saw where the Oakland looked like the McGloin got hurt.
Yep, he's out.
Connor Cook is
in.
Wow.
The guy the Cowboys wanted.
So maintaining health was utmost importance here today.
You know, speaking of that and speaking of quarterback, I don't know about you, Mick, but watching Tony lead that touchdown drive was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in sports. It was just so much fun to watch it. And then him come to the sideline and get the congratulations from the guys was special as well on television. Is there anything you can add to it from being in the stadium?
Well, you know, when he came in, he got booed. The Philadelphia fans booed him.
Yeah, that's the opposite of cheers for us.
Classic. Right? Yeah,
that's cheers.
That shows they know who you are, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I appreciated is he actually cracked a smile like he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, you know, he was pretty casual afterwards during the press conference. It was like, hey, if you're good enough to go play, you go play. And this is what I do. And, you know, this is like practice. And so he kind of shrugged the whole thing off and didn't take any, big views of things going on with his career or with the Cowboys. He just answered questions about the game. But, yeah, it was kind of neat to see him smile and to see Dak go up and not only pat him, but give him that little kind of push that they like to do to each other. And, and Zeke come up and hug him. So I think the young kids really appreciated and respect what he was able to do.
Appreciate you, Mick. Have a good flight. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Talk to you tomorrow.
There he is, Mickey Spagnola. Each and every pre- and post-game show right here. Cowboys fall 27-13 up there in Philadelphia. Yeah, you know, the body language on the sidelines, the thanks, his tone in the post-game presser, he's going to be a professional and he's going to back up. And if they need him, he'll be awesome in the playoffs. But I don't feel like Tony looks at himself as like he's a member of the team. You know, you go out there and you're that good, and then afterwards you're kind of like, you know, I don't want to answer any questions about my place on this team or the big picture or all that. I feel like he went out there and put in some good work for his old team, and now I think he kind of looks at himself as a guy who doesn't necessarily have a football home right now, Mike.
No, I think you're right. I can compare it a little bit. The Cleveland Indians in 2001 won the division. I pitched in 3 games. I was there all of September. I didn't have anything to do with it. It was fun to celebrate with the guys and everything, but you had nothing to do with it. And so you don't really feel like you're a part of that championship team. You're happy to be there, but you're kind of like, I didn't do anything to help this thing out. I mean, I was here. They put a uniform on me, and I'm sure that's how Tony feels about this season.
He looked good, though, didn't he? The anticipation on that touchdown throw. The aggressiveness, like he gets the ball and you see him just like, okay, where is that hole? Where is that hole? And as soon as it's available, it's out and it's going there. He did float a little bit on the first play. You know, the big arm was never really there, and I think you could see the age a little bit. But if you were an old Tony Romo fan, I think today was just an awesome possible final chapter of the book. I still hope that, you know, there is an opportunity for 40, 41-year-old Tony Romo to be the backup / assistant coach on this, but it's clear after the way that he played today, another team wants him. He wants to go prove something, and maybe that final chapter is yet to be written. But if this is it, man, it was a cool way to say goodbye, I felt, in Philadelphia. 27-13, Cowboys lose. We're going to come back and get your thoughts at 877-881-1053. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, Jesse Hawley. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, Cowboys fans. Did you know that over the next few years, more than 1 million service members will transition from military to civilian life? Veterans face unique challenges when they get out of the military, and Bank of America and the Dallas Cowboys are teaming up to help with financial education, career opportunities, and support of military nonprofits and organizations locally in North Texas and across the country. We're proud to support our troops and are deeply grateful for the dedication and sacrifice of our service members and veterans. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys, invites you to join us in our efforts to get involved by tagging game day photos on social media using hashtag TroopThanks. That's hashtag TroopThanks. And by learning more about our commitment to veterans at bankofamerica.com/military support. Together, we can thank our troops in ways that make a real difference.
Copyright 2016, Bank of America Corporation.
This is the sound of Jason Witten catching a game-winning touchdown. And this is the sound of Reliant finding the people of Dallas the perfect electricity plan. Sounds pretty similar when Jason Witten catches a TD. Now, whether you're switching homes or switching plans, Reliant can help. Just sign up for the Reliant Cowboys Secure Advantage Plan and get an autographed Jason Witten football. All you got to do is call 1-866-RELIANT or visit Reliant.com.
Valid for residential customers only. Restrictions apply. Call or visit Reliant.com/Cowboys plan for details. Reliant PSCT number 10007.
Walk into any Choctaw casino or resort, and we won't just say hello. We'll welcome you to the wow. Look around. See your favorite games next to the newest titles. The top names in entertainment, just steps from delicious dining. Enjoy what you want, when you want. Welcome to the wow. Welcome to Choctaw Casinos and Resorts. Find the nearest destination at ChoctawCasinos.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Welcome to the wow.
As football fans, Raising Cane's believes in rushing quarterbacks. But not our hot, fresh, 24-hour marinated chicken. We believe in running out the clock, but never out of our refreshing sweet tea and lemonade. And we believe in supporting the Cowboys with the same passion we have for serving our customers. Because when it comes to Dallas Cowboys football, we go all out. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Through life's ups and downs and for all the journeys ahead, you know what to bring. The car you can count on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all.
Welcome back to your live coverage of Greg's Morning Commute. Let's take a look at that instant replay.
Yeah, old Greg is backing out of the drive and bam! The classic hot coffee sip and slip lips.
Oh, that is one hot cup of Joseph.
Yeah, he takes his eyes off the road and pow! Right into the mailbox.
Oh, and he had so much drive.
When the unexpected hits hard, Caliber Collision is there to get you back on Easy Street. We're America's largest collision repair company and proud partner of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, restoring the rhythm of your life. Caliber Collision.
With unlimited data from AT&T, you can stream your favorite DirecTV content almost anywhere. Side effects may include sports-induced public celebration, increased desire to share spoilers, and repeated late-night use of the phrase,
just one more episode.
The unlimited effect. Get unlimited data when you switch to AT&T Wireless and have DirecTV.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T needs slow speeds. Must have eligible TV service. If you're not eligible, AT&T will move you to a new plan and overage charges may apply. Plan will include Stream Saver. Other restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
We sleep, breathe, and now scratch football. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket from the Texas Lottery today for your chance to win up to $100,000 instantly and enter promotional drawings for a chance to win a Cowboys VIP suite experience, training camp package, a draft day package, season tickets, and much more.
Thank you for supporting Texas education and veterans. The Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys logo are registered trademarks of Dallas Cowboys Football Club Limited and are used under license. All rights reserved. For detailed game odds and information, visit txlottery.org or call 1-800-37-MOTTO. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket or to enter a promotional second chance drawing. Play responsibly.
Geico presents Unanswerable Questions.
Can a person daydream at night? Why aren't eyebrows considered facial hair? Or the most perplexing of them all, why doesn't everyone switch to Geico when they could save 15% or more on car insurance? But you could be a part of the answer by switching to Geico and saving hundreds for yourself. Money you could put toward a campaign for eyebrows to be properly recognized as the facial hair they are.
Geico, the answer to savings. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys Pepsi postgame show continues. Brought to you by AT&T. Mobilizing your world. Pepsi. All for the Cowboys. Caliber Collision. Restoring the rhythm of your life. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. John Deere, the official AG and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One Love. The University of North Texas, established 1890, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back. Cowboys fall 27-13 in Philadelphia. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Hawley. The number's 877-881-1053. Where do your donations to the Salvation Army go? Wherever a life can be turned right side up, wherever hope's the only thing left. Donate today at SalvationArmyDFW.org. The Salvation Army doing the most good. We've talked a lot about, Tony's performance. It was electric in one drive, he scored a touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott, Sean Lee not playing, losing in Week 17. One of the interesting things going on elsewhere in Week 17 is the Giants and what they're doing to the Redskins in Washington. This game's in the third quarter, and the Giants are throwing a shutout against the Redskins' vaunted offense. That Redskins offense looked great 6 weeks ago, the last time the Cowboys played them. Since then, they have kind of cooled off, and now it's like back to, okay, what is Kirk Cousins? And I'm happy there's part of that in the equation, because this Giants defense is starting to get scary, aren't they? When you start to look at the teams that they're beating and how hot they are, they're going to be an 11-win team. I consider them very much a Super Bowl contender.
I consider them a threat to the Cowboys. They can't score over 20 points. Now, because it's 10-0 right now, they probably won't score over 20. And maybe you can, and Denver probably proved it last year. Can you win a Super Bowl with never scoring more than 20 points in a ball game? Because
only if you have a Manning, I guess.
Right, I guess so, right? The Peyton and Eli combination. But that's the only thing about them. I consider them a threat, and most likely, I think Green Bay, which is going to come up here, they're going to win their game. And so it's going to be Green Bay 4 seed and New York 5 seed. And more than likely, the Cowboys will play the winner of that game. And both those teams are threats to the Cowboys in totally different ways.
The only other thing that we could possibly see is if 6 beats 3.
Right.
877-881-1053. Jesse, before we get to these phone calls, are the Giants worrying you? Where are you at relative to New York?
Yeah, I mean, they're the only team that beat us this season, outside of this last game right here. But, I mean, this Giants team has our number. Whatever they do, they match up well up front. They can go man-to-man across the board. And I think that's the key, is that they don't have to really double. They can use Janoris Jenkins, or they can use Cromartie Rogers to lock up on Dez. Maybe shade a safety over there, but for the most part, Snacks Harrison up front, he gives us problems. Olivier Vernon, he gives us problems. And now, the other guy that the replacement for JPP, he gives Doug Free problems on that side as well. So what they do defensively, it hurts us. It gives us a problem, and then they have that one X factor on the offensive side of the ball. Now, Eli's going to Eli. He's going to give you some chances to make interceptions, but Odell Beckham, he has the opportunity and the ability to, if they need one play to break the game open against Brandon Carr or Orlando Scandrick or Mo Claiborne, if he comes back, to make that play on our DBs.
Well, we'll keep an eye on this game for you, and if something develops, we'll let you know. We are pulling for Washington to beat the Giants, because then if Detroit beats Green Bay, then the Packers and the hottest quarterback in the NFL would be out. So there is definitely some scoreboard watching to be done, and we'll be on until 6:30 with you right here on your home of the Cowboys. Okay, let's head back to the phones here, and we'll go out to Cleburne and talk to Tom. Tom, you're on the Cowboys postgame show. What you thinking here this afternoon?
Howdy, guys. Well, first of all, go Cowboys. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
But my question was, Jason Witten only had to get 27 yards to get his record. And considering, this game wasn't a must-win, and things that Jason has done for this team, I think it would have been really cool to see Tony throwing the yards that Jason Witten needed to get that record. Is kind of an homage to what they've done over these past few years, just kind of a thanks for all the effort and, knowing he's kind of.
I would have loved to see that too, Tom. I totally agree with you. I could have used as much nostalgia as they could possibly doled out today in a meaningless game. Load me up.
I would say this. I think Jason Witten in his career now, like, records don't mean anything to him because he has almost every one Dallas Cowboys receiving, especially tight end wise, but he's never played in an NFC championship game. So him being healthy, needing to win one more game to be in an NFC championship game in a long Hall of Fame career for him is probably 1,000 times more important, but I also would have liked to seen it too.
Yeah, there's just more important things, like you said, like Tony being healthy, ending that drive with a touchdown was I felt very important to get Tony in, to prove to whoever was watching what they needed to see, and then boom, you're done. And it would have been ideal if he could have come out a couple of more times and led touchdown drives, but you just don't want to put that in risk after you've really aced the test. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Holley. Cowboys fall in Philly 27-13. We're going to come back and give you the What a Play of the Game, brought to you by Whataburger, and take more of your phone calls. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Tom Patterson here, founder and CEO of Tommy John, the 21st century men's underwear brand that makes wedgies impossible by combining patented, breathable fabrics with truly innovative design for what can only be described as the perfect fit. And they're backed by our best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed.
Experience life-changing comfort with Tommy John men's underwear, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Save 20% on your first order with code Cowboys at TommyJohn.com now.
Wearing glasses with Crizal lenses can make a big difference in your vision. Neither the sandstorms of the Mojave Desert, nor the dust and dirt of a Texas rodeo, nor the glare of the bright lights of Broadway can keep you from having the clearest vision possible. For no glare lenses with great water, dirt, dust, scratch, and smudge resistance, choose Crizal. Live life in the clear. That's C-R-I-Z-A-L. Crizal. Ask for them at your eye care professional.
Ever seen a legend up close? Well, this Wednesday, Too Tall is in the house. That's right, Ed Too Tall Jones is our guest on the SWBC Mortgage Dallas Cowboys Legend Show. That's this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Texan Station inside the Gaylord Texans. Join Bill Jones, Brittany Sham, and me, Mickey Spagnola, for an hour of great conversation with Ed Jones, as well as chances for you to win Cowboys gear and other great prizes. Can't attend the show? Watch us later, anytime, on demand on DallasCowboys.com.
The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, home of the Hail Mary, world champions, and some of the greatest fans in the world. At MyFlakes.com, we get it. For you, Cowboys football isn't just a season, it's a way of life. So sport your true blue pride on your car or truck with a MyFlakes.com team license plate. Go to MyFlakes.com today. Choose an official Dallas Cowboys plate. Create your message and save up to 40% with a personalized 5-year term commitment. How about them Cowboys?
MyFlakes.com. The whistle of the ball as it spirals towards the end zone. The harmonious roar of excitement from the stands as if to say, this is our team, this is our game, this is our Super Bowl, and we're taking it. 273 yards, 4 touchdowns, January 28th, 1996. We remember. Do you? For moments you want to relive again and again, come to CSD Framing in Carrollton, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether it's your favorite photo, jersey, or pigskin, we frame it all custom and in-house. CSD, we get your frame of mind.
At Elephant Auto Insurance, we like to reward our customers with more than just peanuts. That's why we're introducing tons of discounts that just about anyone can qualify for. Discounts for responsible drivers, multi-car discounts, discounts for homeowners, discounts for renters, early shopping discounts, online quote discounts, good student discount. I could do this all day. Pay in full discounts.
More care, less cost.
Discounts.
See the elephant difference at elephant.com.
The Cowboys don't take the field without a game plan, and neither should you. When it comes to energy needs, do what the Cowboys do and trust ProStar Energy Services to perform for your business. They offer unbiased independent consultation with centuries of industry experience in markets, both nationally and internationally. Let us draft a strategy to help your business beat the competition with bottom line savings on your energy bill and custom procurement and utility bill auditing solutions that keep your team focused on winning. To score big for your business, call ProStar today, 817-892-4250.
Want the very best real estate experience? Choose the real estate company with over 77 years of experience in the DFW real estate market. Century 21 Judge Fight is the official real estate company of the Dallas Cowboys and will provide you the same level of expertise we offer the team. No matter what you need, our one-stop, full-service real estate company can help. Call Century 21 Judge Fight today at 800-799-9410 or visit century21judgefight.com.
The holiday season is upon us, and you're likely searching for the best deals on the finest wines, the coolest beer, and the smoothest liquor. No matter what you celebrate next, be sure to stop by your neighborhood Goody Goody. With low prices and incredible selection, our beverage specialist can help you find the right drink for any occasion. Goody Goody. Toast of the town. Discover low prices on all your holiday spirits at one of 14 area Goody Goody locations. Find your nearest store at goodygoody.com. That's goodygoody.com.
The Jerry Jones Show, Tuesday mornings at 8:30 on The Fan.
McFadden, the running back, Romo in the gun. And looking left for a little fade to Williams and a great head nod. Williams caught it. Touchdown. Romo with a touchdown on his first possession of the year.
Oh, that was a great pass, wasn't it? Romo, he snaps. He takes a few steps left. He's waiting. Oh, Terrence Williams got a step. Ball on the way. Touchdown. That was beautiful. A hands catch for T. Will as well. The What a Play of the game brought to you by What a Burger. It capped Tony Romo's afternoon in Philadelphia and capped a 6-play drive that went the length of the field pretty quickly. Cowboys fall 27-13, but that moment right there, it was fun, wasn't it? And it might be the last moment you see Tony Romo in a Cowboys uniform. If that is the case, what is going to be your lasting memory? What do you think is the legacy, what stands the course of time with Tony Romo and the Cowboys?
It's tough being in this organization, and I've done this before. I'm going to not compare him, if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, to Dirk Nowitzki, because he has a championship MVP. But who I'm going to compare him to, I think, is very good here. And if you follow baseball at all, it's Don Mattingly of the New York Yankees, because Don played in not a great era of the New York Yankees, and he played in the organization that's considered the premium number one organization in baseball. Same with Tony Romo. He's playing in the premium number one organization, America's team. And so you have to compare him to Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman and Don Meredith and then all the great Hall of Famers that the Cowboys have had. So it's very tough. If he was a Cincinnati Bengal for his career, he'd be, or like Michael Young of the Texas Rangers. But if Michael Young is part of the New York Yankees, then Michael Young's not really going to get remembered as a New York Yankee. And Don Mattingly's not really going to get super remembered as a Yankee because he doesn't have the championships that Jeter and Mantle and DiMaggio and Ruth and go down the list of what the Yankees have put together. So I think Don Mattingly had a great career, and then his bat gave out on him, and it kind of ruined a little bit of the back half of his career. And they almost made it to a World Series in his last year. Kind of sounds like Tony Romo. Tony Romo had a great career. Injuries started hurting it a little bit, and then when it looked like they were going to put together the team that could possibly do it, his body couldn't do it anymore.
I mean, for me, he'll always be a huge figure in my life. I mean, my biggest play in my NFL career was because of Tony Romo. I mean, literally it's because of Tony Romo. He changed the play in the huddle and gave me an opportunity to have history in the Cowboys record books or whatever you want to call it. And I remember him saying to me on the plane when I asked him, why did you change the play? And he said, because you told me you were ready. And that forever will stick with me. And so to me, I always look at Tony Romo as someone who, he was a gunslinger. He was someone who, played the game his way. Will we remember for that? Hell of a quarterback, hell of a competitor. I've always said he's one of the toughest guys in the football, not just quarterback, just player in general. So for me, if today was the last time we see Tony Romo in an NFL uniform, I'm glad that he got to go out this way. I'm glad he got to go out semi on top with him holding a finger up in the air saying, I still got it, just to let you guys know. And, best of luck to him wherever he goes. I don't know where he'll go. I don't know what the future holds for him. If they win a championship this year, he may decide just to hang it up. I don't know. But it would be great to see him get that championship, if not here, somewhere else.
I'll be pulling for him, man. And I feel like he understands, but I feel like he's bummed out about the fact that he's got to go. But I also feel like he's very, very confident he's going to be real good.
And then my next point is, can you imagine if this Dallas Cowboys team has a nice playoff run, hopefully wins the Super Bowl, and then teams are desperate to get Tony Romo off of that 6-play drive, and the Cowboys have 2 first-round picks in the draft coming up.
It happens all the time. I mean, before it was Russell Wilson in Seattle, they traded for the guy off the Packers that had one good game, and it was against the Cowboys, Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
And they gave up a ton. And I know that Tony Romo's old, but teams are so desperate, and if they can win a Super Bowl, it means tens of millions of dollars, if not over $100 million for the owner. And because of that, they're willing to take the risks. You win a Super Bowl in this league, and it is just such a windfall, not only financially, but it sets you up, and there's blessings all across the organization. Your fan base loves you. You sell season tickets, and it just buys you so much time in the sun. Teams are going to be willing to do it for a variety of reasons. You have multiple teams that need a quarterback that have good defenses. That's going to help as well to create a potential bidding war. And I think the offer is going to end up becoming a conditional pick because of the unknown. But somewhere between a first and a third, I think, is what's going to get added to your stash. Here's Kenneth in Palestine. You're on the Cowboys postgame show. Kenneth, what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, what's on my mind is I wonder why the defense don't run that 3-down lineman, that they ran in the second half on Detroit. Seems like they get more pressure running that. And it scares me, no matter who they're playing, if they put them on the right side of Doug, across from Doug Free, it's going to be a problem, no matter who they play.
Appreciate the call, Kenneth. Those are good observations as well. Was Free trying to help the tight end too much today? Because a lot of times it was Escobar, or is he just old?
No, the tight end is supposed to help Free.
Right? I know, but when it's Escobar, it's got to be the other way around.
Well, that's the luxury of having a guy like Jason Witten, because he's going to be where he's supposed to be, doing what he's supposed to do. But anytime you don't have that unit together, sometimes maybe Martin and Frederick was leaning more to the left to help the new guys out instead of helping Doug Free out. Doug Free is the weakling of that offensive line, and you saw it a lot today.
Now, I will say this, and I have to go back and look at the stats, Gavin, but I think in the history of that 2007 game against the New York Giants, where the Cowboys were 13-3 and the number 1 seed and home field advantage, I can't remember if it was Flozell Adams or the other tackle, started getting beat a lot because of that New York Giants defensive front. And then Jason Witten couldn't run another pass route the rest of the game. In the second half, and it hurt Tony Romo and it hurt the Cowboys, if I'm remembering that game correctly. Now Jason Witten couldn't run a route. He had to be the 6th offensive lineman the whole second half of that game to try to give Romo some time to get the ball out. So hopefully that doesn't happen come playoff time this year for the Cowboys, is that Witten can't run any routes because he has to help Doug Free out.
The way I remember in the first couple of games, it has gone that way, where they've moved to a lot of 12 tight end situations and done as close to max protect as possible. But we shall see. It was very interesting to hear the Cowboys talking about a potential third game with the Giants, and at least one of them said he'd love to see him. I think that's another difference between the fan and the player perspective. They probably want the revenge and the rematch, where I think a lot of us are like, well, if we could just go ahead and play somebody else, that'd be fine. Drive of the Game's coming up. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
With unlimited data from AT&T, you can stream your favorite DirecTV content almost anywhere. Side effects may include sports-induced public celebration, increased desire to share spoilers, and repeated late-night use of the phrase,
just one more episode.
The unlimited effect. Get unlimited data when you switch to AT&T Wireless and have DirecTV.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T needs slow speeds. Must have eligible TV service. If you're not eligible, AT&T will move you to a new plan and overage charges may apply. Plan will include Stream Saver. Other restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
Light 25. Light 25. Ready, hut.
Get closer to America's team with another proud Texas original. Miller Lite is giving you the chance to win Cowboy tickets and tailgate passes to every home game. For your chance to win, register at MillerLite.com/Cowboys. And for your chance to enter the drawing for the ultimate Cowboys experience, see specially marked 12 packs of Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. No purchase necessary. Starts August 1st, 2016. Ends December 12th, 2016. Oklahoma and select Texas residents, 21 plus only. Void where prohibited. See official rules at MillerLite.com/Cowboys for details. With great beer comes great responsibility. Copyright 2016 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Cowboys fans. Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Cowboys jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Cowboys gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
When the game plan calls for fast, reliable air transportation, America counts on the global leader, Airbus Helicopters. Corporate leaders choose Airbus Helicopters for business travel. Law enforcement and emergency responders choose Airbus Helicopters to save lives. And the Army, Coast Guard, and National Guard choose Airbus Helicopters to keep Americans safe. We're the home team, based in Dallas-Fort Worth, building helicopters here in the U.S. Airbus Helicopters, a game changer in the air.
I went to my first Cowboy football game at the Cotton Bowl when I was 10 years old. I've been a Cowboy fan ever since, in the Super Bowl years and the not-so-good ones. Teamwork is what makes winners. At the law office of Domingo Garcia, we play as a team to win your case. If you have been hurt in a car or truck accident, injured on the job, call the law office of Domingo Garcia and join our winning team. With offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, Odessa, and Tyler, we can help you in Texas. Call 214-941-8300. 214-941-8300.
What sets senior care centers apart from other rehabilitation and long-term care facilities? Senior Care Centers is committed to excellence in clinical care, providing an environment that feels like home and treasuring people like family. To learn more about our centers throughout Texas, visit seniorcarecentersltc.com or call 972-834-5273. Senior Care Centers is a proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys. Integrity, growth, respect, excellence, wellness. Our values, our commitment.
Hey NFL fans, you can win real NFL prizes from Pepsi and Tostitos, but you can also win unreal NFL experiences. Collect codes when you buy Tostitos or Pepsi, and you could win a real football helmet signed by an NFL pro. Or you could win an unreal trip to the 2017 NFL Pro Bowl. You could win real NFL gear just in time for Super Bowl 51. Or you could actually go to Super Bowl 51. So crack open a Pepsi, grab some Tostitos, then enter your codes at PepsiandTostitos.com.
No purchase necessary. Visit PepsiandTostitos.com for details.
Two receivers right, two left. Snap back, four-man rush with a twist. Romo heaves it over the middle of the field to Williams. Caught for a first down. Up and around the 33-yard line with outstanding pass protection again.
All right, there was the end of the drive of the game brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Tony Romo leads the Cowboys on 6 plays, 81 yards, took 2 minutes, 49 seconds. He was 3 for 4, had a big pass interference on a throw to Des Bryant that could have very well been a touchdown. Wouldn't that have been an incredible way to end Tony Romo's season and possibly the Cowboys' portion of his career? But the drive of the game brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Gearing up for the playoffs, are you? Academy has everything you need to get ready for what's sure to be an amazing postseason. Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. Week 17 was not good in the box score for the Cowboys as they fall 27-13, but they end the year 13-3 on the year, tied for the best record ever. We had the Tony moment. Dak went in there and played well enough. The defense was actually performing admirably throughout the majority of the game. The Eagles get the late touchdown, but you know, without Sean Lee and without Barry Church playing for a lot of it, I thought it was just fine.
I did too. I thought David Irving had another impact when he was playing in the game. He's going to have to be a guy that steps it up in the playoffs. And I thought, for future-wise, Damian Wilson had a really good game. And look, if Jalen Smith is healthy next year, which is a huge if still, but if you have Lee and you have Smith and you have Wilson, that's 3 really good linebackers.
Yep. All right, 877-881-1053. Let's get back to your phone calls, and we'll start with Chad in Amarillo. Thanks, Chad. How you doing?
Hey, great, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm an old ex-head football coach, and I coach a little arena ball. And I think the guys that are calling in are totally missing the boat. I think with the exception of a win, this couldn't be a better situation for the Cowboys. Because, guys, what's the most important position in the league?
Quarterback.
Exactly. And I thought you had 2 positives and 1 negative, and I've taught math in the past, and I thought that this breaks the rules. I thought it all equaled a positive. For this point, I mean, he couldn't have a better situation for Tony, and I of course, don't think he'll be back next year. And you got out there with Dak not getting hurt. But I think the main thing that everybody's missing the boat on is, and you guys have talked about it, but the thing for next year, we needed to see what Sanchez was, and he is what he is. And I think Kellen Moore gives you by far a better backup situation than him, and you needed to see that. I mean, you go into 2 minutes. What other scenario would you want with 2 minutes left in the game? You can go and win it.
Yeah, I don't think Sanchez could pull that off. That's a great call, Chad, and appreciate you calling in at 877-881-1053. Sanchez is terrible. I can't imagine Kellen Moore would be worse. I just want Sanchez gone because I think it's an embarrassment whenever he runs out. Your team turns into the laughingstock of the entire league. And if Sanchez was just marginally better than the other replacement level quarterbacks that you could find, I'd be okay with it, but he's not. So
if it was 7-on-7, the Cowboys would have scored 9 points with Sanchez quarterbacking today.
Oh yeah.
He's horrible.
It's amazing how I think players regress once they get into pro football at times because they get gun shy or they lose confidence.
I think he's lost all his confidence. I think that he was a better quarterback his first 3 years in the NFL than the last 3 years in the NFL because he's lost his confidence. He knows he can't do it. And if he doesn't believe it, then there's no way it's going to get done.
All right, down here on line 5 is Tommy in Little Elm. Thanks for calling in. You're on the Cowboys postgame show. Tommy, go ahead.
All right, Bastick, this question's for you, man. I know you and Romo have been off the last couple of weeks, and you've been hanging out at the men's low T clinic off the tollway, Beltline.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you. If you're going to pay Tony Romo $24 million next year, or if you're going to cut Tony Romo, it's $19 million next year. You saw what Sanchez is as the backup. I'm a huge Romo fan. You see what that offers to you and what Romo can do, what he's done in his whole career. What is the savings you're gonna take if you were to let Romo go somewhere else?
Yeah.
By the time you pay a backup quarterback, what are you left with?
That's a good call, by the way. It's a great question because in a world where human beings don't play sports, you keep Tony Romo. But he's a human being who believes that he can still lead a team to a championship.
Yep.
And if you keep him in Dallas and you send him to Oxnard, I'm not sure if he shows up. He's been a great teammate this year. He might say F you to the Jones family and say, I'm not showing up to training camp. You can hold me hostage because of my contract, but I'm not showing up to be the backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if Tony agrees to it in the offseason, if Tony says, I want to stay as the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback, then you do it. Great call. Now you have a great backup quarterback next year. I can't see Tony Romo saying yes to that, and now you have a huge issue when you show up to Oxnard with both guys on a team, one not wanting to be there.
For what they owe him next year, he'll show up. Now, he may not be happy to show up, but I believe if he showed up to training camp, it might be guaranteed if they don't do something before that. So for that number, if they decide to say, you know what, we're not trading you, we're not letting you go, we're not cutting you, you're here. Then for what they're going to give him, I think it's like $20-something million next year, $24 million next year. I think he'll be more than happy to show up for $24 million next year and be the backup.
He already has 100 in the bank, over 100 in the bank.
Listen, 24 won't hurt.
I think
24 more won't hurt.
For me, from a team perspective, it's 25 next year if he's on the team, 20 if he's not. You save $5 million next year, but then the year after that, there's another $10 or $15 million. So long term, you would start freeing up double-digit millions of dollars starting in 2018 from an organizational standpoint. But I think if I'm the team and I'm trying to get a trade done and teams are saying, hey, we're only going to give you a third, then I would tell them, we'll just keep Tony.
Yeah.
I think it benefits all parties involved if a trade happens and Tony goes somewhere, but I think a very legitimate backup plan would be to hang on to him and have him be the backup. Because
I guess it's different because in baseball, I'm just thinking most guys like Alex Rodriguez in Texas was like, screw you, Rangers. I'm not showing up to another last place team because everything's guaranteed in baseball.
Yeah.
I'll collect my extra $200 million whether you like it or not. Wherein I guess if Tony doesn't show up, I bet Tony plays hardball pretty hard if they say you're going to be the backup next year.
Yeah,
but play hardball for what though?
To go be a quarterback of a team, which he wants to do.
You're not going to show up for $25 million?
Oh no, you're going to show up, but you would still be.
Yeah, he's going to be a little salty, but
still be pushing.
Wipe your tears with $100 bills.
Yeah, I think eventually the situation will sort itself out. But in worst case scenario, you'd be happy. What are you going to do?
I think,
Tony, he's not going to be unprofessional.
No.
You know everything about him. He's dedicated to
I think the relationship between Tony and the Joneses is so good. They respect him so much. He respects them so much that they will be able to come to some sort of number, a buyout number, some sort of number that made both of them happy. If they couldn't find a trade partner, they would come up with a number and say, listen, maybe we meet in the middle. We know we owe you 25. How about we do 15? And we just say, you get to go and pick your own team, and you still walk away with $15 million. But don't stick us for the $25 million and do us dirty like that. I think there's a mutual respect between the two parties that they would do the right thing for each other.
And to that point, there is a post-June 1 designation where if you don't cut the guy before March 1st, you go through free agency, or after the draft, you're trying to trade him, it hits June 1. Then at that point, you can break up the salary cap hit over a 2-year period instead of 1.
Right.
So now in 2017, your cap hit for Tony is 10 instead of 25. You freed up $15 million. Now you didn't get anything for trade, but that might be the most appealing of the 3 or 4 different ways that the Cowboys and Tony could choose to manage the situation. Who's responsible for the defensive stand of the game? We'll tell you that and more when we come back. Cowboys fall 27-13 at Philly. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, home of the Hail Mary, world champions, and some of the greatest fans in the world. At MyFlakes.com, we get it. For you, Cowboys football isn't just a season, it's a way of life. So sport your true blue pride on your car or truck with a MyFlakes.com team license plate. Go to MyFlakes.com today. Choose an official Dallas Cowboys plate. Create your message and save up to 40% with a personalized 5-year term commitment. How about them Cowboys?
MyFlakes.com. Hey Cowboys fans, this is Dan Bailey. I'm a busy man during the football season. I could be kicking field goals in New York on Sunday, then back in Dallas training on Monday. No matter what city I'm in, I always make sure to drink my Bigelow tea. In fact, Bigelow teas are all over our facility and are a part of our daily routine. From the hand-picked teas to carefully selected ingredients, all protected in their signature foil pouch because flavor matters. The Bigelow family knows we deserve more. So Dallas, pick up a mug, join me, and be proud to drink Bigelow tea.
Thomas, Alexander, and Forster. Think differently. Reject boundaries. Win. Thomas, Alexander, and Forster. Fear the TAF. Visit fearthetaff.com.
Looking for the ultimate steak experience? At Pappas Brothers Steakhouse, we pride ourselves on our straightforward approach to serving our guests the best steaks. We buy the highest quality ingredients, use a timeless recipe, and cook it flawlessly each and every time. There's no detail left untouched when you dine at Pappas Brothers Steakhouse. We have a vast wine list and sommeliers to help guide you through 3,500 selections. Join us at Pappas Brothers Steakhouse for the ultimate steak experience. A proud supporter of the Dallas Cowboys.
When you need help for yourself, your business, or a financial institution, financial services can be a complicated game. You need a team you can trust. Through 40 years in the game, SWBC has coached individuals, businesses, and financial institutions. SWBC provides insurance, mortgages, and more, and assists businesses with employee benefits, insurance, and payroll. Pass the ball to SWBC and let them create a winning game plan for your financial needs. Call 866-923-6403 or visit SWBC.com.
Gleaming floors and pristine restrooms, the sign of a well-run facility? With Pollock, janitorial supply is solved. Could always having toner, sticky notes, and coffee make your office more productive? With Pollock, workplace efficiency is solved. Want to get more products on every pallet? With Pollock, smarter packaging is solved. Anything you need, where you need it, when you need it. Count on it. Pollock is where solved happens. Call 1-800-843-7320 or visit Pollock.com.
Walk into any Choctaw casino or resort, and we won't just say hello. We'll welcome you to the wow. Look around. See your favorite games next to the newest titles. The top names in entertainment, just steps from delicious dining. Enjoy what you want, when you want. Welcome to the wow. Welcome to Choctaw Casinos and Resorts. Find the nearest destination at ChoctawCasinos.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Welcome to the wow.
This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show, brought to you by
Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and be proud to be a Bigelow Tea drinker. Elephant Auto Insurance. More care, less cost. Discover the elephant difference at elephant.com. Bill Nunnally. Cast a big shadow. Texaco with Techron. Driving performance. Goody Goody. Low prices on fine wine, craft beer, and premium liquor. Goody Goody. Toast to the town. Thomas, Alexander, and Forrester Attorneys. Fear the TAF. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Ben and Skip, afternoons on 105.3 The Fan.
Wentz in an empty gun at the Philly 25. Back to throw. They cut Gregory. He's still there and got it. Well, Gregory's just a beast on that play.
They cut Gregory. He still gets there, and he got him. Randy Gregory responsible there for our defensive stop of the game, brought to you by Reliant. Reliant keeps you powered at home, at work, and on the go. You know, he was second on the team in tackles. 7.
He was moving around. I mean, there are times where obviously they'd get a positive run, but he was trailing the play and could catch up to the running back and trip the guy up.
Yeah, it was good stuff from Randy, and the word came earlier in the postgame show that in 7 to 10 days he's going to have an appeal hearing with the NFL, and at that point his status for the postseason will be determined. So my question would be, if it's a season suspension and you start the suspension now, would the playoff games count?
I don't think so. I think like Jesse will know. I think the playoffs are separate from suspension. If you're suspended for the season, you can't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, you can't play. I think if they suspend him coming up with his next 7 to 10 days, it's effective immediately.
And it doesn't count for next year's games. Like then next year he'd still be suspended 16 games.
Yes.
They're just suspending him more to be like, yeah, you shouldn't have really played in those 2 games. We just let you get away with playing in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, because I would have much rather just started the suspension. But, you know, at that point, we wouldn't have known how much progress Randy Gregory was showing. But I think one thing's for sure, we see why the team has showed faith in Randy. The body's developing, the skills are developing, and I think those pass rush moves are something you can work on in individual time and, you know, get your footwork, get your handwork. And if you're working against quality offensive linemen, you know, who knows? Maybe in 18 months without much game time at all, or probably 0 game time, maybe he can continue to evolve, because he definitely has since last time he touched the field. Let's talk about the playoff picture and what we're most likely looking at right now with just the fourth quarter and then tonight's Sunday nighter to go.
Obviously, we know Dallas is number 1. Atlanta's killing New Orleans. They're the number 2 seed in the NFC. Number 3 seed right now, Seattle's winning by 8 points late in the third quarter. They look like they will be the 3 seed in the NFC. So you have Dallas, Atlanta with the byes, Seattle with the home game next week. You have Green Bay and Detroit right now playing at 7:15 tonight, which will be carried on 105.3 The Fan here locally. Whoever wins that game will be the 4 seed. Whoever loses right now looks like they could be the 6 seed, because New York, who's locked into the 5 seed, is beating Washington 10-3. And I believe Tampa Bay's out. I think all their scenarios are done.
Yeah, Tampa Bay needs a win and 6 other teams to lose.
I don't think that's going to happen. So
and Dallas was one of them. So, I mean, that helped, but they won't. They're out.
If everything stays the same and Washington loses, then you have 1 through 3 already decided. You have number 5 decided, which is New York, and then you'd have Green Bay and Detroit playing each other for the 4/6 seed, which would lead you to believe, as a Cowboys fan, Seattle at home usually wins playoff games, which means you're going to probably face the winner of tonight's game or the New York Giants.
So if you are the Lions and Packers, I think I'd rather lose and go to Seattle than stay at home and play the Giants. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did, but I wouldn't, just because, and if I put up 20 points, I beat them. I beat the Giants. If I can figure out a way to put up 20, they can't do it. Today, once again, their defense is awesome, so putting up 20 is not going to be easy. I know 20 wins the game. Philly put up 24 last week and won 24-19, I believe was the final score, 24-18. So I know 20 is the magic number, and sometimes it can be 13 is the magic number against New York.
Yeah. But again, like you said, it's just so hard to get to that point because their defense, man, they just play tough defense. This defense is, I guess it's the best defense money can buy, and they went out and paid for it, and they have the guys now that's starting to gel together, and it's looking good.
And now, Gavin, to you, New York versus Green Bay. Who do you want to play?
I barely would rather play New York, but it is so close, man.
I think it's only going to be the scenario.
It's only because I'm scared of Aaron Rodgers, and tonight I expect him to surgically carve up the Detroit Lions. I think Aaron Rodgers wasn't healthy, and he just never complained about it. But now he's setting his feet, and he's scrambling and actually making plays with his legs, and he is back, I believe, to being the most dangerous player in the NFL.
And Jordy Nelson, he's back. Like he looks like he's healthy again, like he's running like he was running before. It took some time for him to get his legs back underneath him after the ACL injury, but he looks to be back and getting open. So that's a scary combination to go up against a healthy Aaron Rodgers and a healthy Jordy Nelson.
Here's line 2. It's PG in Dallas. You're on the post-game show. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's happening?
Hey, man, listen, I think you guys are overlooking the biggest factor of them all. Running game, check. Efficient passing game, check. Bend but don't break defense, check. But great coaching is what gives you the edge in the playoffs. We got to start with having our players mentally prepared. Then you got the game plan, knowing how to establish a rhythm, i.e. get Dez involved early, knowing how to make adjustments, and capitalizing on momentum. There is a science to that. Belichick knows it. Carroll knows it. Mike Sherman, Andy Reid, Jim Caldwell. But Garrett and Linehan, I'm not sure. They're working with superior talent, but most teams in the playoffs have superior talent. So you guys in the media have a lot of power. Establish a question mark surrounding the coaching for the rest of this postseason and put some pressure on Garrett so we can win. Otherwise, we're looking for an early out. Mark my word.
Appreciate the call, PG.
PG with the bomb.
What do you think about the coaching staff and game management relative to the postseason in this team, Jesse?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at that to be a factor, the coaching staff, as far as playoff experience, they have just as the least amount as, as well. I take that back. Well, but Marinelli was a head coach, and Scott Linehan has been around for a long time. But as far as the head coach, he doesn't have much playoff experience. But I think if you can continue to do what you've done with this team all year long, I think you're putting yourself and your team in a pretty good place to be successful in the playoffs.
Jason Garrett, to me, is coach of the year, and I don't think it's to me a question, because he took a rookie 4th-round quarterback and turned him into a possible MVP candidate. And when you watch Mark Sanchez run this team, and I know there are different scenarios here, this is once again a team that's going to struggle to win 4 to 5 games. So I think Jason Garrett's done an awesome job, to the caller's point. I get it, I understand, but I think the coaching staff has done an awesome job this year.
So do I. Here's Michael in Dallas. You're on the post-game show, Michael. What you thinking?
So just had some comments about the whole Romo situation. So everybody's flipping out. Romo had a couple decent plays and did his thing, but I kind of look at it this way. Romo came in. We had McFadden. His first ball was interception if the defensive back would have took another step. The next thing that happened is we get, some good little plays, and then we get a penalty, which gets us down there. I just don't see the big Romo thing. If he would have stuck into the entire game, took some hits, and then we would say, yeah, I understand, maybe have him as a backup. But with the money that he adds to the salary cap, I just don't see why everybody's making a big fuss about
Okay, everybody's not. Everybody's not. People are saying it was fun that Tony played well. He converted a 3rd and long and scored a touchdown. It's the name of the game. There was a pass interference. And yes, you know what? DBs could have 20 interceptions a game if they turned around and caught the ball, but they're busy being bad with their hands and paying attention to what the wide receiver is doing. Everybody thinks that and everybody thinks this. No, there's a couple of people on your Facebook feed that aren't happy with Tony or are happy with Tony. But you know what the majority of Cowboy fans are doing right now? 98%. They're excited about the playoffs. They think it's cool that Tony went out in his final game as a Cowboy, led him on a touchdown drive, and they're excited about Dak Prescott's future. You know what? Don't take the one person that you see on Twitter or Facebook and say it's everybody, because it's not. I haven't heard anybody. We've been on for almost 3 hours, and nobody's carried away with Tony Romo. No, everybody is pretty reasonable and excited and cautiously optimistic about what the playoffs might have in store.
I think the main point that we've tried to make is, come playoff time, the Cowboys are the only team that is set up, if your quarterback gets concussed and can't come back into the game, that you can still win that playoff game. You can still win multiple playoff games and the Super Bowl, because you have the best backup quarterback in the NFL, right?
I
feel like that's
awesome.
what I figured out in this game, and maybe that's an overreaction to one drive. But I think if Tony has to come into a playoff game because of an injury, that you have a chance to still win that game and win more playoff games.
All right, the Redskins still have a chance to win it and get in the playoffs, because They have tied things with New York at 10-10, a touchdown pass to Jordan Reed, the tight end, and the point after good.
Yeah, so much for all those playoff scenarios. Now, if Washington wins, New York still stays the 5 seed. It looks like the first 3 are going to be locked in, but Washington can still be the 6th seed if they win this game, which then would mean the Green Bay-Detroit game loser is knocked out of the playoffs.
We'll get you a player of the game and our final thoughts in the Cowboys' 27-13 loss at Philly. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
At the University of North Texas, 37,000 students from around the world fulfill their dreams and transform their lives through education and opportunity. UNT has been ranked a Tier 1 research university by the Carnegie Classification and named one of America's 100 best college buys for 20 straight years. Get the best education in Texas in the best college town in Texas. Find us online at unt.edu. Discover why UNT is the university for you. The University of North Texas, established 1890.
Petit Jean Meats has been providing quality ham and bacon for over 85 years. Today they continue to use only the best cuts of meat, quality ingredients, and time-tested smoking processes as the official ham and bacon of the Dallas Cowboys. Taste the official ham and bacon of the Dallas Cowboys at select concessions locations around the stadium. Order Petit Jean Meats online at pjmeats.com or shop for it at United Supermarkets and United Market Street Grocers. Petit Jean Meats. Taste the difference.
Through life's ups and downs and for all the journeys ahead, you know what to bring. The car you can count on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all.
Being a Longhorn, we all share one thing. Pride. Good old Texas pride. And no matter how we show it loud. It ain't there just on game day. It's there Monday, Tuesday, hell, every day. It's an unstoppable force that tears through tackles, obstacles, and more importantly, your veins. It's a badge of honor. So wear it proud.
We are Texas Apparel, the official gear of the Texas Longhorns. Now available at Academy Sports and Outdoors. We are Texas. Wear it proud.
For nearly 40 years, SWBC Solutions has been teaming up with people, companies, and financial institutions in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com.
This holiday season, Miller Lite would like to remind you that you can either bring one gift to the party or you can bring 6. 6 great-tasting, less filling Miller Lights. Happy holidays from Miller Lite. Copyright 2016 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. With great beer comes great responsibility. Per 12-ounce Miller Lite has 96 calories, 3.2 grams carbs, 1 gram protein, and 0 grams fat.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
Get together with your fellow Cowboys fans and enjoy every game with smooth 100% agave Hornitos tequila because Hornitos knows Cowboys fans only need 3 things from their team this year. 1, get the run game going early and often. 2, get the ball to the playmakers. And 3, do everything to protect the quarterback. And of course, celebrate every victory with Hornitos tequila, proud fans of the Dallas Cowboys.
Celebrate responsibly. 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2016 South Tequila Import Company, Deerfield, Illinois.
Ultimately, you're going to be defined by what you do on Sunday. But in my experience, if you're not doing it throughout the week, Sunday's going to be difficult. Well, I just feel like I've been practicing well, and you just wanted to go out and, prove to yourself, prove it to your coaches, teammates, that you can go be the same guy.
There he was, Tony Romo, after this afternoon's game. He was 3 for 4 for 29 yards, 1 touchdown, a passer rating of 134.4. And the player of the game in this one could go to a lot of different Cowboys because nobody really stood out in the box score as being dominant.
The Eagles fans gave it to Mark Sanchez.
Okay, yes, that would be fitting.
He completed more passes for the Cowboys to the Eagles than when he was on the Eagles for the Eagles.
But Tony Romo is our player of the game, brought to you by Pappas Brothers Steakhouse, a cut above the rest, offering prime beef, dry-aged in-house, a proud supporter of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think there's any way we see him again?
Tony?
Yeah, if the other than injury, if the Cowboys are struggling in a second half, do you think they'd go with Tony? I would have a hard time thinking that they wouldn't, considering how aggressive and sure-minded Tony was. Like if you're in a playoff game, you'd at least want to throw him out there on the off chance that he could capture magic. There was a spot late in the Giants game where I thought Dak had acknowledged almost mentally that they had no shot to score, and the entire team looked like it. If they have that kind of body language again, I don't think I'd hesitate to put 9 in there. What do you guys think?
No, I wouldn't either. I think if you look up like the scenario that I brought up earlier, and Dak is having one of those putrid first halves, and you're talking about your playoff lives are on the line, and you look that man in the eye and you just think he doesn't have it at the moment. It's got a little bit too big for him. I don't have a problem with going to Tony, trying to invigorate some life into your team. You know, Tony's going to come in. It's going to be a fireball. He's going to be excited. He's not going to be wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. He's going to go out there and play good football.
I'll just go with Babe Laufenberg, and I'll go with his thought process on it. And his thought process is you've built something that looks like is going to be the next 10 years in Dak Prescott. And if you take away the playoffs from him, then what happens the next year if you can somewhat repeat this team with the offensive line?
Tony won't be here.
I know, but
so
what he's saying, what Babe is saying is now you go into that playoff scenario going, crap. Remember when we needed Dak to get that third and fourth quarter experience in the playoffs and we decided to just pass it to Tony to just see what he could do? Now Dak doesn't have that experience of playing in that playoff game.
Yeah, I think I'd like the shot of capturing magic and winning the game more than I would, without knowing how it's going to turn out, obviously. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and I think a lot more people would be calling for Tony Romo in that situation based on how today played out.
And if they don't win the Super Bowl, the Cowboys made the mistake. Whether it was right. Whatever it was, if they left Dak in, that was a mistake. If they put Tony in, that was a mistake not letting Dak play. So if they lose the game, I will be prepared to do a 3-hour post-game show for the Cowboys making a mistake.
Well, thanks to Mike Bassick and Jesse Hawley. We're going to stick around locally for the next half hour until Sunday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Blue 42! When you listen to the Cowboys game. Blue 42! Set punt! Like you're in the Cowboys game. Revel Audio and the all-new Lincoln Continental. It immerses you in every note of music and every Cowboys game like you're on the field. That's Continental. And this is Lincoln, the official luxury vehicle of your Dallas Cowboys.
Want the very best real estate experience? Choose the real estate company with over 77 years of experience in the DFW real estate market. Century 21 Judge Fight is the official real estate company of the Dallas Cowboys and will provide you the same level of expertise we offer the team. No matter what you need, our one-stop, full-service real estate company can help. Call Century 21 Judge Fight today at 800-799-9410 or visit century21judgefight.com.
The war for talent is as tough as it's ever been. Innovative's proven recruitment methods and experts are here to help. We can design custom solutions to meet any hiring need, large or small. So whether you're a manager trying to build a team on your own or you're an HR pro looking for a partner who simply gets it, you'll love the innovative difference. Learn more today at gotoinnovative.com. That's GO2 innovative.com or call 972-392-1144.
Ashley Home Store, carrying the #1 furniture brand in America, along with the Dallas Cowboys, proudly supports a Hope to Dream charity, helping to change deserving children's lives with a new bed and the chance for a good night's sleep so they can get the rest they need to lead better, more productive lives. Every mattress purchased at Ashley helps make a difference in a child's life. For more information, contact HopeToDream.com.
For more than 30 years, the Dallas-based law firm of Bell Nunnally has been casting a big shadow for its clients. As a full-service business law firm with more than 55 award-winning attorneys, Bell Nunnally is proud to include commercial litigation, mergers and acquisitions, real estate, intellectual property, and white-collar criminal defense in its extensive list of practices. Go to BellNunnally.com or call 214-740-1400. Think big. Talk to Bell Nunnally today.
Tom Patterson here, founder and CEO of Tommy John, the 21st century men's underwear brand that makes wedgies impossible by combining patented, breathable fabrics with truly innovative design for what can only be described as the perfect fit. And they're backed by our best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed.
Experience life-changing comfort with Tommy John men's underwear. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Save 20% on your first order with code COWBOYS at TommyJohn.com now.
Visit the Owner's Box located inside Omni Dallas Hotel featuring an HD laser 18-foot screen. The Owner's Box, Omni Dallas Hotel, the only place to watch the game.
This edition of the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Pepsi, all for the Cowboys. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. John Deere, the official AG and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One Love, the University of North Texas, established 1890, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. The postgame show was also brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and be proud to be a Bigelow Tea drinker. Ashley Home Store. Bell Nunnally. Cast a Big Shadow. Texaco with Techron. Driving performance. Goody Goody. Low prices on fine wine, craft beer, and premium liquor. Goody Goody. Toast of the town. Thomas, Alexander, and Forrester Attorneys. Fear the Taff. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. This has been a production of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
Live from the NTXHondaDealers.com studio. All sports, all the time. This is 105.3 The Fan.
It's the post-game show here. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, and Jesse Hawley. Cowboys lost to the Eagles 27-13. What do you think about how Tony Romo played? Do you think the Cowboys screwed up by not getting him back on the field like 2 months ago? Can you imagine how good he'd be right now? Or do you think that maybe he and the Cowboys handpicked a couple of plays that they knew they were going to be able to have success with? They came in, they ran him, they got out, and now Tony can say, hey, free agent teams that need a quarterback, here I am. And the Cowboys can say, hey, teams that want to trade for a quarterback, what do you think?
You know where I stand. Last week in the postgame show, I compared Dak Prescott to Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson, guys that weren't kind of first-round picked to be your franchise quarterbacks and end up being somewhat franchise/future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So I'm on it worked out perfectly because Tony Romo just made his trade value higher than maybe what it was.
Yeah.
And I think that Dak Prescott is going to be a future franchise Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame type quarterback.
Okay, if you're worried about Week 17 momentum going into the playoffs, we can take your thoughts on that as well. Now, full disclosure, I think that storyline can apply to some teams. Like, if you play poorly in Week 15 and Week 16 and you're going to have a bye and you come out and give no good attitude or effort in Week 17, that's a problem. But if you played well in Week 15 and 16 and your starters came out at the beginning of Week 17 and played well and you put some subs in and you were still very much in the game until late, where on the road you kind of raised the white flag, it's fine. There's nothing to be worried about unless there are, really troubling signs elsewhere. And we're just not seeing any of those. It's behaving very much like a Jason Garrett coach team. Ezekiel Elliott not starting. I thought that was, brilliant to keep him all week long in a preparation mode and then on game day say, hey, by the way, we're not going to need you today, bud. Appreciate it. I don't know how well that'll work later in his career, but at least for this rookie year where he's learning everything and everything's a transition, you got that, Week 17 rhythm established for him.
I think later in his career, he'll be more welcoming to it. I think right now, just a little eager beaver. He wants to go out there and get all the reps, but as you become a more veteran player in your career, you get to these guarantees and you go, you know what, coach? It has been a long year. This is year 5 for me. So he might go to the coach and say, listen, if you don't need me, you know what? I would rather want to sit out this game.
You know, one thing that we haven't discussed in 3 hours here is Darren McFadden versus Alfred Morris, because they both got to, that was a competitive thing, I believe, at least from those two guys. Alfred Morris was trying to maybe reestablish, hey guys, maybe don't deactivate me. Maybe I can be the guy that carries the ball 3 or 4 times in the playoffs. But yeah, I think McFadden looked better.
I think that's clear. I think that was clear when that was clear whenever McFadden got cleared to come back and play. And he immediately moved into the second running back. That was clear then. I thought Alfred Morris was a good kind of bridging the gap until McFadden got healthy again. But that part was already clear whenever McFadden came back from the elbow injury, and he moved immediately right back in to the number 2 running back spot, that they were going with him instead of Alfred Morris.
Yeah, I was surprised that McFadden was better than Morris, but it was true. You know, when McFadden got healthy and the Cowboys were like, yep, we're moving him ahead of the line, I was like, really? Because I thought Morris was pretty good, but turns out they were absolutely right about that. 877-881-1053. Sean Sharif from the Sean and RJ show, 5:30 to 10 a.m. weekday mornings right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105 through the Fan. He had a great line in the middle of the game after Tony had led that touchdown drive, said, if that didn't impress you, you're just hating. And I think he just hit it right on the head. You know, you don't have to believe that elevates Tony over Dak, but it was impressive to be out of football for that long, to play pretty mediocre and actually a passer rating below league average in his 4 appearances last year. And for him to show up against a team that has smacked the Cowboys offensive line around over the years without Tyron Smith and Ron Leary, for Tony Romo to do that was impressive. And if you don't think so, you are just hating. But it's understandable because we get so involved in these sports debates. You know, I think a lot of times we have to remind ourselves, has the sports debate taken the joy out of being a fan for me? And if you can answer that and say, no, it hasn't, I think you're in a good place. But if you're to a point where you are rattling off 300-word comments of vitriol and hatred towards fellow Cowboy fans, you have entered a point where the debate has taken your joy away from your favorite sports team, and a year they're 13-3 and favored to get to the Super Bowl. So might be time for a reevaluation, but that's none of my business. 877-881-1053. Here's Scott in New Jersey. Scott, you're on the post-game show. What you thinking?
What's going on, guys?
Yo!
The worst part about this whole win is that we got to wait 2 weeks for our Cowboys to play again, right?
Yep.
Like 13-3 is awesome. It's a great season. I think the defense has played great all year long. You know, Romo today, I think he only just sparks the controversy again, right? Yeah, I mean, he looked great. He really looked great. He should have been in another series. But I think the only thing he did is just sparks another controversy on, you know, which way. I mean, we know we're going to be.
That's good. That's a good point to pick up on, Scott in New Jersey. The idea of a controversy. The reason Tony Romo was so depressed at that midseason press conference, he was told at that point, it is over. You aren't starting again. You aren't our guy. Dak is the long-term guy. He is the short-term guy. Unless he gets hurt, you're done as quarterback of the Cowboys. And that's why it's not a controversy. That's why everybody in that organization is like, guys, why are you talking about it like it's a controversy? It's not. That's why when Tony leads that awesome drive and he's running off the field, Dak's like, hey, give me 5. That was awesome, dude. There's no controversy. The reason Tony sounded like he was giving a retirement speech when he gave that, what was that, at the bye week or something?
Right after the bye, right?
It's final.
Yeah.
It's final, and everybody involved knows it's final, and that's why it hasn't become a distraction. 877-881-1053.
Could have said it better myself.
No.
Here's Mitchell in Allen. You're on the post-game show, Mitchell. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. I got these numbers from overthecap.com, and so I'll try to run through them pretty quick. But as I look at it, unless Romo renegotiates his contract, it's not really tradable because the contract's for another 3 years, and it's $75 million. If the Cowboys trade him, they would eat $19 million of it. But the team trading for Romo would then have to eat $54 million of it. But the kicker is actually Romo has zero guaranteed money. So if the Cowboys cut him, say June 2nd or whenever in March, actually Romo doesn't get paid another dime. So that may be a motivating factor, but I just don't see how a team is going to take on $54 million in guaranteed contract.
Yeah, I think you might be misreading a few of those contract details.
I tell you what, to his point, it is tough to read a damn NFL contract.
Yeah.
Like when you start getting into what the cap hit is versus what you really pay in his paycheck versus this and that, it gets confusing. And I think that we've listened to people that are professionals at it, and it's not a zero cut. You can't cut him past June 1st and it be $0. I believe it's $19 million, and then you don't have to worry about his cap in 2018 or 19. Then it's zero, but it's impossible for it to be zero for the Cowboys in 2017.
Yeah, the way those, what do they call them, capologists have broken it down, it's like 19.6.
From what I got, that it would be 14 that would go to Tony, and then it would be a $24 million cap hit.
Yeah.
And that's where he will, to his point, I believe there will have to be a renegotiation. If the Cowboys can work out a trade with whatever team it is, that team will say this is also dependent on us working out a workable contract with Tony Romo. We can't just take on, to his point, that contract that's left.
I mean, from my understanding, the trading team would be taking on what's left of his guaranteed salary.
Okay.
And signing bonuses that would come along with it. And I think that would have to be kind of contingent as well, because you don't know how many games he's going to play.
Right.
I think the trade would be contingent. I think Tony Romo's next contract is probably contingent on how many games he can play. But I tell you what, if he plays the way that he played today, whatever team gets him is going to be very, very happy.
As we've been talking, the Giants had -3 yards in the whole second half, and Washington ties the game. Then Washington allows New York to drive down the field. It stalls in the end, but New York kicks a field goal to make it 13-10. So Washington, with 2 minutes to go, is trying to drive down the field to tie the game or win the game. And if they can't do it, they're out of the playoffs.
So, but if Washington does win and then Detroit beats Green Bay in Sunday Night Football, pregame starts in 20 minutes, the Packers, who might be the number one team on the NFC power rankings outside of the Cowboys,
would be out.
An incredible evening of drama could still be in the cards for you NFL fans.
Definitely going home and watching football.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's true.
So we'll keep an eye on this Redskins and Giants game and keep you updated on any developments that may happen. We'll come back and take more of your phone calls on Tony Romo. Do you feel like the Cowboys have everything taken care of for the postseason now? Is there anything else that you're worried about with this team as the postseason is set to get underway? Gavin Dawson, Jesse Holley, and Mike Bassick here.
How would you like to make some serious cash flipping houses in your area? Well, get ready. The Nick Vertucci Real Estate Academy, as seen on TV, is coming soon to offer free training workshops. Call 1-800-297-3902 now to get your free tickets. Call 800-297-3902 in the next 30 minutes, and Nick Vertucci, as a bonus, will send you a free copy of his Fortunes and Flipping Kit immediately. Call 800-297-3902. That's 800-297-3902 to get your free tickets and learn the Fortunes and Flipping system to get in, get out, and get paid.
Hey, I'm here at your Metro PCS store. What's the best deal I can get for switching over?
How does a free smartphone sound?
Sounds good, but is it a tiny smartphone?
Nope, 5-inch HD screen.
Good brand?
Great brand. Samsung, and it's a Galaxy.
So I got a free Samsung Galaxy?
Yeah, you're a tough man to bargain with.
Everyone gets a free Samsung Galaxy on 5 at Metro PCS. Switch today and get a free smartphone after instant rebate. Yes, a free Samsung Galaxy. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales stocks not included. Not valid for numbers currently on the T-Mobile network. See store for details, terms and conditions, and network info.
Fashion emergency hotline. Help! It's a new year and the new me really needs some new workout clothes.
The new you should just run to Old Navy.
Old Navy?
Yep. Right now, all Old Navy Active for the family is on sale up to 50% off.
Did you say up to 50% off?
I did. Old Navy Active has tons of new styles to help you work out in style this new year, starting at just $7.
Wow. The new me is going to Old Navy. Thanks.
Don't thank me. Thank Old Navy.
Valid 1/2/112.
This week's most popular music. 40 years ago, 1977.
Number 3.
Rod Stewart, Tonight's the Night.
Tonight's the night. Number 2.
Leo Sayer, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing. And the number 1 song this week, 40 years ago in 1977. Marilyn McHugh and Billy Davis Jr., You Don't Have to Be a Star.
You don't have to be a star.
This week in music history. Aretha Franklin became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week in 1987. This week in 1997, Sonny Bono was killed in a skiing accident at age 62. Britney Spears had her surprise marriage annulled less than 55 hours later this week in 2004. And this week in 2006, at age 72, singer Lou Rawls passed away from lung cancer.
Leave it on when it comes to Cowboys and NFL coverage. Every Cowboys and NFL playoff game, including the Super Bowl, will be heard right here on The Fan.
Welcome back. Cowboys fall in Philly 27-13, the final. It's Gavin Dawson, Jesse Holly, and Mike Bassick here, your post-game show. We're taking your thoughts at 877-881-1053.
As you're talking, the Redskins are finished.
Yep.
They just threw a pick to Cromartie. It was a great catch. That dude has wide receiver hands.
Second one of the day.
A minute 12 to go. So you put that in the books, 13-10. The Giants are going to win another ugly game. The Redskins are out. So now the Lions and Packers are both in, and they're just fighting for the division championship.
They're playing for the 4 seed, home field, and then whoever loses will play Seattle in Seattle next week.
Okay, speaking of division championships, will the Cowboys be the first team to repeat in the NFC East in 13 years? Hasn't been done since the Eagles with Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid and Brian Westbrook and all those guys.
I really believe so. Now, I know that things can change a lot in the NFL, but I don't know if a lot's going to change with the Dallas Cowboys. I think that La'el Collins will take Leary's spot because they're not going to be able to give Leary what he's going to get on the open market, but you're not losing anything else that's important on your offensive team. When you look at defense, you do have Carr and Claiborne who are free agents. That's a great conversation to have because Brandon Carr's not missed a game in 9 years. So whatever you think, Cowboy fans, about his productivity, he's on the field every single game.
What do you think, Jesse? Carr or Claiborne? Sorry, Mike.
No problem. I posed a great question.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you know what? For me, I always want availability. You know, availability to me means more than anything else. Availability means more than ability. All that kind of stuff. And while Mo Claiborne has all the intangibles and all the ability, he's never available. Like you said, Brandon Carr is a guy who's always available. You'll probably get him for a cheaper price than Mo Claiborne. So I'll take availability over ability.
So nobody's repeated in this division in 13 years. Do you think the Cowboys will be the first to do it?
It's so hard. You know why it's so hard to say? Because you watch the league and how it turns over every single year. The two teams that played in the Super Bowl last year aren't even going to the playoffs this year. The Washington Redskins won this league last year. They're not going to the playoffs this year. You're right. And so it's so hard to tell, what it's going to be every given year because you can have Dak go out with an injury in the preseason.
True.
You just never know what it's going to be. They have the pieces to do it, but in this division, you just don't know. But you would like for it to happen, but it's just hard to say if it will happen.
I do think the Cowboys, though, are set up to be the Steelers of the last 10 to 12 years. The Patriots, I know that's a dynasty because of all the Super Bowl rings, but those teams always make the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers always make the playoffs. I think the Cowboys are going to go. I'm going to be really positive here because I love Dak and the team that they have. I think the Cowboys are going to enter that type of realm where they're one of the 3 or 4 teams in the NFL that a lot of things change except for those 3 or 4 teams.
That's different from the question that he posed. The question that he posed, will they repeat as NFC East champions, right? Now, that part I don't know. Will they go to the playoffs next year? I'm sure they will go to the playoffs next year. But will they be the NFC East champions next year? I don't know. And this league is so hard to tell because I had Washington at the beginning of the year winning the division. And now, if you go back 2 or 3 weeks, if the Cowboys didn't beat Tampa Bay, they would have had to play, was it Tampa Bay or another team? They would have had to play Philly today, for the NFC East championship. So it's like, it's always that 1 or 2 games throughout the season, no matter how good your year has been, where this division is always going to be tough to win.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you guys. But I do think this Cowboys team is set up to go to the playoffs for, 4 out of the next 5 years.
I agree with that.
The offense is going to be really, really good and something you can hang your hat on while you're building this defense. And we could turn around next year and be looking at a top 10 or top 5 defense very, very quickly.
And you're losing T-Will. I forgot another person on offense who's your number 2 receiver. according to the list. So
yeah, and to your point, you're not really losing anything on offense. 877-881-1053. Who's your 2016 MVP for the Cowboys?
For me, it's Dak Prescott, because he was the quarterback that came in that had to take over for Tony Romo and was able to play in, I'd say, all 16 games. Today was somewhat meaningless and didn't really play, but he was able to lead you to a 13-2 record. And we never thought that was going to happen when Tony got hurt in the Seattle preseason game. So he's my guy.
I think he picked up votes today, kind of to your point that Mark Sanchez showed us how good Dak is, because Mark was Brandon Weeden and Matt Castle from last year in today's game. And it really put a spotlight on how important Dak is for how smoothly this thing's operate.
I think you saw the value of your MVP today, and he didn't play. He didn't play one down today. He didn't play one snap today. Why? Because he's the most important player on this offense. Ezekiel Elliott.
Plays the most violent position on offense.
There's a reason why he didn't get a snap today. I mean, because you could have easily said, if it didn't mean that much to you, you could have easily said, you know what? I'll let Tony go out there. I'll let Marcelo go out there. But they said, listen, Zeke, you won't even get a snap. And to me, I think Dak has had a phenomenal season, outstanding season. But a lot of what he was able to do was predicated on establishing a solid and dominant run game, and that happens with Ezekiel Elliott.
I can't argue that either. I think they're both great choices. And if either one won the NFL MVP, I think there's a legitimate, case for both of them.
And it's going to be so hard for them to win the NFL MVP because they're going to have to split votes. Someone's going to say, someone's going to look at, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Matt Ryan and go, he gets all my votes. And then you come to Dallas, you're going to say, someone's going to be like me and say Zeke. Someone's going to be like you and say Dak. And so they'll split votes, which will hurt their chances of either one of them winning the league MVP.
No, I think you're totally right. Here is Paul in Dallas. You're on the Cowboys postgame. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was just calling in about the Romo comment and whether there's controversy with Romo. I really don't think there's any controversy at all. I think the big issue with Romo, as everyone knows, he can't win the big game. He can't win the Super Bowl. He reminds me a lot of Danny White. I mean, he may look good on a piece of paper and stats, but at the end of the day, he can't win multiple playoff games, and he definitely can't win a Super Bowl.
Appreciate the call, Paul in Dallas. I have a hard time with saying he can't. He hasn't. Situations are different, and I have a really hard time. An organization that, in a lot of ways, trying to overcome its front office over the years. I feel like 25, 30 years into this ownership group, we're now finally in a really good spot where they have good leadership across multiple points in the organization. If things had been different, if Tony had decided to go with the Denver Broncos instead of the Dallas Cowboys, things would have been different. I do think there's something to be said that Tony accumulated a lot of stats without a lot of wins because he was in a lot of fourth quarters where, based on his own play, they were down multiple scores and the scores were easier to come by. But there's no doubt Tony's great. Lesser quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. I think the Cowboys are managing this situation really, really well. But I don't want to take anything away from Tony while acknowledging that, right? You can't just say that Tony can't do something. He hasn't. He's gotten limited opportunities because usually there's been no running game and no defense. You can't go off in the history of Super Bowl winners and find any team. Well, I'm sure you could find one. But no, you can't. You can't find any team that didn't have a great defense or great running game, or they just turned the other team over an ungodly amount. One of those three things had to happen, and for the majority of Tony's career, he had none of that going on his team.
No, I agree with that. Look, if somebody wants to call me the Tony hater because I've been Dak's side, Tony has been a very good quarterback in the NFL, and unfortunately it just didn't work out for him in his time with the Dallas Cowboys that they put together a premium team that could last a while. They had a premium team in 2007 and got upset. And they had some good teams during his time, but not good enough.
I mean, Tony put the ball on Patrick Creighton, right? It was there. Yeah. Here is Fred in Dallas. You're on the post-game show, Fred. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Happy New Year to you. Basically, I just want to say I'm going to speak about it in reference to like a general manager. I want my team to be successful and win. Tony Romo, yes, he did come back, and it was good for him to have a good game, a good series. But in the overall scheme of things, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, they're co-MVPs of the team. Most likely it'll be either probably Tom Brady edging out Zeke for the MVP of the league. But overall, we have a successful team. Let's appreciate that, and let's ride this thing through, man. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, well said, Fred.
Salute.
Happy New Year to you. You know, so much of this is about enjoying it and having a good time. And I think after games, so many people go to watch parties, and they're having a great time, and maybe there's a debate going on, and then, man, they get, you know, we all do it. I'm not going to say you or me or they. We all do it.
And I'll say this. This is when it's going to get tense. I'm going to get tight. I'm going to get nervous. I think a lot of Cowboy fans will, because there hasn't been much success with the Dallas Cowboys organization in a long time. And right now I'm really excited about the playoffs, but I know when it comes playoff time, whoever they're playing in that divisional game, I'll get nervous because it feels like, as a Cowboy fan, what can go wrong will go wrong in big moments lately in the Cowboys' history. So I'm excited to hopefully see things go right. The Dez catch that wasn't, and just things have gone wrong. Just like you talked about Patrick Creighton, they blitz. Tony hits Patrick perfectly for a 20-yard gain that's probably going to turn into a 50 or 60-yard gain. Patrick running the ball, and he just drops the ball. Like, things have just gone wrong at the wrong time for the Dallas Cowboys lately.
Maybe it's time for them to go right.
I hope so.
You never know. I mean, they've had a ton of magic happen to them this season. This fourth-round guy comes out of nowhere, and it is dazzling and fantastic, and takes his team on an 11-game winning streak, 13 wins, and it broke all the rookie records that they had, here. So they can probably, sometimes the ball don't bounce your way a lot of times, but now possibly maybe it may bounce the way for the Cowboys.
That would be epic. The Super Bowl. Now, what are we looking at here? We are 5 weeks away. We are 5 weeks away from the Super Bowl, and after this coming up weekend's wild card action, we will have the divisional round. We are anticipating that is going to be a 3:30 kickoff 2 weeks from today.
A Sunday game?
Yes, it'll be and the reason why we believe we know that to be the case is because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have been assigned that 3:30 game on Fox for the Sunday afternoon.
Oh, good. Okay.
So it would be really, really difficult to imagine them at a different site, right?
True. Yes.
All right, so thanks so much to everybody involved, for Mike Bassick and Jesse Hawley, and, of course, Tim Collins and Parker and Troy Hughes, our buddy Chuck here.
The season's over.
The season is over. It was a great season as well. 13-3. They tie the franchise record for most wins ever. Jerry told us Friday it was very important to get to 14, and I'm sure he would have loved it. But when all the chips were down, it was time to rest players, and Ezekiel Elliott and Sean Lee never touched the field until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Gavin Dawson, Mike Bassick, Jesse Hawley, you're going home with a G-Bag Nation. Salute.
When it comes to breaking sports news, no morning show covers it better than Sean and RJ. Right here on 105.3 The Fan.
Hey music lovers, it's the Ashley Home Store New Year's Savings Bash. Get a king mattress for the price of a queen mattress. Click the banner to find a store near you. Ashley Home Store. This is home. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payment required. See store for details.
Danny, I just figured out that if I switch to Metro PCS, I get 2 Samsung Galaxy phones free.
Cool, Dad.
And I could be a super dad with 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones and call myself Double Galaxy Man.
Or you could give the second phone to your sidekick.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
That's right. 2 free Samsung Galaxy On 5 smartphones are all yours when you switch to Metro PCS. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out.
Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
This week's most popular music. 40 years ago, 1977.
Number 3.
Rod Stewart, Tonight's the Night.
Tonight's the night. Number 2.
Leo Sayer, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing. And the number 1 song this week, 40 years ago in 1977. Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr., You Don't Have to Be a Star.
You don't have to be a star.
This week in music history. This week in 1936, Billboard magazine introduced the first ever pop music chart. This week in 1953, country singer Hank Williams died of a heart attack at age 29, brought on by pills and alcohol. This week in 1958, Gibson Guitars launched the Flying V electric guitar. The Beatles, without John Lennon, had their final studio appearance as a group this week in 1970. Week's most popular music. 30 years ago, 1987.
Number 3.
Gregory Abbott, Shake You Down.
Number 2.
Duran, Notorious.
Notorious.
And the number one song this week, 30 years ago in 1987, the Bangles, Walk Like an Egyptian.
Walk like an Egyptian.
CBS Sunday. The NCIS LA team knows the game.
I always expect the unexpected.
They can even the score.
Never a dull moment, is there?
Never. And when they make a move...
This is our investigation now.
You can't lose.
So we got a plan.
What's wrong?
Well, we're all just one big, happy, slightly dysfunctional family.
I believe that's called a win-win.
NCIS Los Angeles, CBS Sunday, or stream it live or on demand.
This week in music history. Aretha Franklin became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week in 1987. This week in 1997, Sonny Bono was killed in a skiing accident at age 62. Britney Spears had her surprise marriage annulled less than 55 hours later this week in 2004. And this week in 2006, at age 72, singer Lou Rawls passed away from lung cancer. This week in music history. Aretha Franklin became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week in 1987. This week in 1997, Sonny Bono was killed in a skiing accident at age 62. Britney Spears had her surprise marriage annulled less than 55 hours later this week in 2004. And this week in 2006, at age 72, singer Lou Rawls passed away from lung cancer.
.com. This is the exclusive home of your Rangers, 105.3 The Fan, KRLD FM HD1, Dallas Fort Worth. Never ever quit, guys. Let's go.
All the scores, all the highlights. This is NFL Sunday on Westwood One.
Coming up on NFL Sunday, it doesn't seem to matter who wears the uniform. There's just some magic in being a Patriot.
Brady over the middle on the slant. It's caught by Michael Floyd inside the 5, pushing his way to the goal line, stays on his feet, reaches out, and touchdown, New England! Michael Floyd in his second game with the Patriots.
And they say you're the defending champ until a new one is crowned, even if all you're doing is ruining someone else's season.
Simeon, they set up the screen. Booker on the left side. He has it. Booker's inside the 35, inside the 30, inside the 25. Foot race 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Denver. 43 yards on a screen pass. 16-0 Denver.
Dave Logan on News Radio 850 KOA in Denver, and Kevin Lee right here on Westwood One. I'm Scott Graham. Those stories and more as Westwood One Sports runs down all the scores and highlights from week number 17 in the National Football League. This is NFL Sunday. And we begin in a very important weekend with some very important scores, specifically right now in the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs, with 1:56 left to play, have a 37-27 lead over the Chargers. Couple that with the Raiders' loss. That game is final now. The Broncos beating Oakland 24-6, and Kansas City is going to be AFC West champions and get themselves a bye. Also, the Cardinals leading the Rams right now 44-6. That's with 3:11 to go in L.A. Among the other late games everybody was watching was the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants, because Washington had a chance to clinch the wild card with a win, and of course, if the Green Bay-Detroit game tonight does not end in a tie. But the New York Giants have found a running game all of a sudden in the season to go along with their defense, and right now it's a hard combination to beat.
Second and goal, another handoff. Jennings, who goes over the top, hurdling a couple of Redskins, and plunges into the end zone for a touchdown. The Giants get the game's first TD, and they expand their lead to 9-0, 9:20 to go in the second quarter.
That's John Sadak right here on Westwood One. The Giants had a 10-0 lead at halftime. The Redskins kept off the scoreboard for a half for the first time in more than 60 games. Ultimately, Washington would find their legs. They got themselves a field goal in the third quarter, and then a long drive in the fourth quarter that finally got the game back to even.
Giants showing blitz, shotgun snap, bobbled some. He floats it right side, quick slant, Jordan Reed, touchdown! The tight end furiously spikes the ball and fists his chest, slamming it with the clenched left hand. An extra point shy of tying the game. It's now 10-9.
They got that extra point and knotted the game with 8:13 left to go. Washington had all the momentum. The New York Giants had only pulled one player. Remember, they were locked into the 5 seed and couldn't advance their position at all. The one player they pulled was Odell Beckham Jr., so they were missing a deep threat. Ultimately, when New York needed a big play, though, in the fourth quarter, they found a different one.
Shotgun, 1st and 10. Giants at their 31. Manning 5-step drop, steps up and looks long. Deep down the near left side. In stride. Tavares King with the grab. 1st down and more. Tavares King all the way to the red zone as Greg Toller aided him out of play.
And so that 44-yard reception set up Robbie Gould for a field goal with 2:12 left to go that gave the Giants the lead. Redskins still had an opportunity to come down the field. Remember, they could not afford a loss in this ball game. But Kirk Cousins once again ran into an old friend.
Shotgun snap, Cousins looking left as multiple men on a crossing route, pumps and then throws late, and it's picked off, intercepted by a leaping Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. 23, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Getting some blocks, goes down to a knee just off the edge of the Redskin logo at about the 47-yard line. His second pick of the game, and that will silence the Redskins' playoff aspirations. They have 2 timeouts with 1:12 to go, and the Giants up a field goal.
The Giants ultimately win the game by a score of 19-10 to improve to 11-5 for the season. Remember, they are the number 5 seed. They will play the number 4. Who's that going to be? We're going to find out later on tonight. It'll either be at Green Bay or at Detroit for New York next week. Meantime, Washington with a golden opportunity sees it go away. They're eliminated from playoff contention and wrap up the season at 8-7-1. About the Atlanta Falcons, a chance to clinch a first-round bye with a win today, playing at home at the Georgia Dome. Last regular season game there, but an opportunity for an offense to really show its wares. And boy, have they shown those wares.
Matt going to hand to Freeman. Devontae cuts it back. 40, 45, 50. One guy to beat. 30, 25, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown Atlanta. 75 yards. Devontae Freeman. Sterling Moore was nothing more than a guy looking at the license plate of 24. Good heavens.
Wes Storr on the call on Sports Radio.